What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 4AK Chapter 86 Uchiha Kagame's 5 Cages, Scorpion's Road to Revenge. Advertisement, Arrogant Uchiha. Onoki showed a confident expression. Today, we will definitely not lose if we put our dignity as a shadow on the line. Really, Onoki, when you came to form an alliance with second Tsuchikage, wasn't it miserable for you to be taught a lesson by Uchiha Madara? Uchiha Kagami spoke sarcastically. You are so old, and you still haven't realized how powerful the Uchiha clan is. Are you so short of memory? Onoki's face turned pale. That scene was so vivid in my mind. Once Susanoo came out, she was invincible and beat them until they vomited blood on the spot. But at that time, he was still young and average in strength, but after so long, he was no longer the young man he was before. Uchiha Kagami, I am not the same person anymore. Onoki gritted his teeth and said, and you think you can rival Uchiha Madara? You are such an arrogant young man. Since the Sengoku period, there has been no new ninja legend in this ninja world. Really? Then let's witness it today. Uchiha Kagami scanned the audience. The chakra on her body surged, and Susanoo stood tall. The half-body of Susanoo alone is tens of meters tall, and the chakra blades in both hands are constantly waving to clean up large areas of miscellaneous fish. A big funeral of sand and iron, Third Hokage shouted angrily. Spread your hands and manipulate the large piece of sand iron in magnet style. The waves surged forward one after another, like a vast ocean of sand and iron, trying to forcefully break through Susanoo's defense. But, several consecutive vibrations. Bust Susanoo has no cracks at all. It only shook a little, which immediately made Third Hokage's eyes widen. Onoki asked anxiously, how is it, Lord Third Hokage? Did you test the defense power? Third Hokage swallowed and said with a difficult expression, Uchiha Kagami is now unfathomable. His Susanoo, both in size and defense, is far more powerful than the one we fought against me 10 years ago. Except for Mr. Tsuchikage's dust escape, I don't think anyone can break through his defense. Even Raikage and his son may not be able to do it, unless. Let him take the initiative, but this is impossible. Impossible. Onoki stared at each other, found Uchiha Kagami standing there with his arms crossed. His face was full of pride, but there were gaps on the soles of his feet, and there was a lot of sand and iron around his feet. Third Hokage has a keen sense of combat. Following Onoki's reminder, this flaw was immediately captured. Immediately, his eyes were filled with confusion. When he raised his right hand upward, he saw the iron sand at his feet, forcibly dragging Uchiha Kagami out. Ha ha, ha ha ha. This is Susanoo's flaw, we are going to win. Raikage, now. Double lariat. Onoki clenched his fists. Raikage and his son had been waiting for a long time and attacked at a fast speed. The two of them burst out with explosive lightning-style chakra. While clenching their fists, they were about to break Uchiha Kagami's neck with their elbows and shoulders. Uchiha Kagami, you will lose this time. You can't move in the air, so what can you do to resist our stunt? No one can resist this move. Fourth Raikage's eyes were full of excitement. Originally, when his father was defeated by Uchiha Kagami, he was tricked by his disciples in order to wash away his shame, and then was coaxed out of hundreds of millions by the Akatsuki organization. Now that I think about it, it's simply a naked humiliation. This time they cooperated with Third Hokage's attack, which was fast enough that the other party couldn't use Flying Thunder God. No matter what happens this time, Uchiha Kagami will definitely lose. However, something unexpected happened. Not only was Uchiha Kagami's head unscathed, but his body had been covered in purple lightning style at some point, and his eyes were full of teasing. Uchiha Madara used the Rinnegan to absorb Naruto's Rasen Shuriken. Advertisement. Although Uchiha Kagami doesn't, but his body has long since transformed, and the strongest body has been born. Even Naruto's Sage Art Spiral Shuriken may not be able to break through the defense, let alone this kind of ninjutsu. Oh, slip of the tongue. It's not that nintaijutsu isn't strong enough. But the physical bodies of Raikage and his son still need to be improved. And he, Uchiha Kagami, has more tricks than Uchiha Madara and is relatively more calm. No, how is this possible? My father and I's unique ninja skills were actually blocked by you with your body? My strongest shield and strongest spear can't do anything to your body. Could it be that, in just a few years, your body has become stronger than mine? Fourth Raikage was stunned. Third Raikage looked ugly and thought of some possibility. That's right. I'm sorry, now the title of strongest body in the ninja world can only belong to me. But you father and son are so ruthless. I spared you several times on the battlefield, but you are not merciful at all. It seems that I can only be cruel. The smiling face of Uchiha Kagami, it gradually turned cold, and the short black hair suddenly grew. It binds the Third Raikage like a hedgehog, its hairs are as sharp as steel needles, and it also has the property of purple electricity paralysis. Even the Third Raikage can't break free this move. It's Jiraiya's messy lion hair technique. Use cell activation to make hair grow rapidly, which can be used to restrain enemies. But he covered it with the purple lightning style and blessed it with the strongest body. This move is already far behind Jiraiya. This trick works very well. For those with talent, practice is actually not that difficult. However, the difficulty of ninjutsu does not always represent the power of ninjutsu. The two are not the same concept. After all, Senju Hashirama's wood style is wood style, while Yamato's wood style can only have 3 rooms and 2 living rooms. And 4th Raikage is fast enough. He actually managed to escape before being restrained. Father. 4th Raikage looked anxious, and Uchiha Kagami's eyes became more and more cold. He does want to leave some seeds for the ninja world. After all, these seeds may be useful in the future, but sometimes it is not good to be too kind. Then, chakra surges from Uchiha Kagami's body. A Susanoo arm is transformed, and the chakra blade is about to penetrate the 3rd Raikage. At the critical moment, suddenly, an old voice came from high in the sky. Don't even think about it, Earth-style earthquake core. The ground suddenly rose. Uchiha Kagami cannot control her body, but is restrained by her long hair. The 3rd Raikage rose together, and at this moment the chakra threads flew in, forcibly connecting the 3rd Raikage and breaking free from its restraints. And Scorpion no longer hides. At some point, the main body appeared next to the 3rd Kazekage. He has red hair and looks very young, probably in his teens. But in fact, he is about the same age as Nagato now. Although he is still young, he is not as young as he looks. It's obvious, he still transformed himself into a human puppet. The 3rd Kazekage didn't seem to know, and looked surprised. Scorpion, your body, you actually transformed your own body? I'm sorry, I should have paid more attention to you when you were young. It doesn't matter, this is the path I chose. Scorpion's eyes were fixed on Uchiha Kagami, and he said with overwhelming hatred. Konoha killed my parents, Uchiha Kagami killed my grandmother. I have no nostalgia anymore, this body is the way for me to become stronger. For revenge, I won't hesitate to become a puppet. Chapter 87 Dust Escape Original Realm Stripping Technique. Onoki who never gives up. Advertisement. Uchiha Kagami said nothing. I actually feel like Scorpion looks a lot like Sasuke now. He lives for revenge, but he has no sympathy at all. On the battlefield, you are either killed or killed. You cannot be spared just because you are weak. This is my strongest puppet art. Red Secret Technique 100 Machine Exercise. Scorpion opens his chest, and popped up the 3rd scroll behind it. Hundreds of red puppets came out, controlled by the chakra line on the chest, and rushed towards the opponent densely. Little tricks. Uchiha Kagami shook his head in disdain. Chakra surges all over his body, and half of his body is covered with whiskers. If these puppets are allowed to attack continuously, any kunai poisonous mist will be meaningless. Click. 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 He activated the chakra's 2-handed blade, which was more than 10 meters away, and casually chopped down a large number of puppets, causing countless parts and broken legs to fall. After a while, this most powerful art will completely disappear. It turned into a pile of scrap metal, and the scene was a bit embarrassing. Onoki. Raikage and his son, 3rd Kazekage. Shie gritted his teeth and showed an expression of disbelief. He didn't recover for a long time. The most powerful puppet art that he was proud of was so weak that he was easily defeated by the opponent like chopping vegetables. 3rd Kazekage comforted. It's okay, Scorpion, Uchiha Kagami is not an ordinary ninja after all. You are still young and you will have a chance to take revenge in the future. It's up to us next, right? You can just help us from the side. If you can't avoid the opponent's attack, remember to use the chakra line to help us. Good. Scorpion gritted his teeth and refused to give in. But he could only nod in agreement. After all, he is still too young and his strength still has room to grow. But as the 4th Kazekage, he could only play support, which was unacceptable to the young and energetic man. Can't you dance? I originally wanted to try other things, but it seems that the 5 of you are limited to this level. Let's see how you take this trick. Susanoo Yasaka Magatama. Uchiha Kagami opened her hands. The same goes for half-length Susanoo, whose chakra is constantly condensing. It turned into 8 huge dark red Magatama and smashed it in the direction of the 5 shadows. Earth-style Gangly-style technique, Sand Iron Shield. Onoki and 3rd Raikage looked at each other. The 2 of them had a tacit understanding, but they didn't dare to slack off in the slightest. The 2 of them pressed down on the ground at the same time, and a large amount of soil began to surge, turning into a huge stone man. And behind the stone man, there is also an extremely thick layer of sand iron covering. Boom! Magatama fell on it. Almost breaking through the 2 layers of defense, cracks appeared in the stone giant. But barely blocked it. Bang bang, bang bang bang. Uchiha Kagami clapped his hands and said with leisurely appreciation, yes, the dual defense of Sand Iron Release and Earth Style is worthy of the strongest Kazekage and Onoki. Their fighting awareness is first rate, and they can actually block this move of mine. Then, how can you resist this move? Advertisement. Wood Style The World of Flowers and Trees is coming. As soon as he finished speaking, in an instant, the ground began to shake. Card. Countless vines sprouted from the ground. Each vine is thick and big, like an ocean. In the blink of an eye, the entire battlefield was covered, flowers bloomed, and pollen spread at a speed visible to the naked eye. How is that possible? Wood Style, Onoki said in shock. You actually know First Hokage's Wood Style? How is this possible? Shie was completely stunned. Creating such a large forest in the blink of an eye? Is this the power of the former ninja god? 3rd Raikage gritted his teeth. Damn it, even though I really don't want to admit it, he just mentioned Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama, and he didn't take them seriously. It seems that he really wasn't bragging. How can it be repaired? Uchiha Kagami actually knows Wood Style. When can I beat him? 4th Raikage was furious with incompetence. Now is not the time to talk about this. Hurry up. Scorpion says these pollen are highly poisonous and can paralyze the body instantly once inhaled. Quick! Everyone get into the air, use my sand iron to help you. Third Hokage looked anxious. Immediately activate the magnet style and control the balls of sand and iron. The sand iron flew holding 5 shadows floating in the air and kept rising. However, the next second, before they could react, Uchiha Kagami appeared above them at some point. At this moment, he was no longer half Susanoo, but Susanoo who had grown legs. In terms of scale, even compared with Uchiha Madara, it is no different. Uchiha Kagami laughed ferociously. Susanoo raised her hand and patted it down, causing the 5 shadows to fall into the sea of trees. You're all focused on the pollen, and you didn't notice me, right? Haha, get off here. Fire style how huo mie ya, hooray, hurrah. And he jumped up. The huge Susanoo stood on the hill, and at the same time released a large-scale fire style. A large swath of flames covered it in the blink of an eye. And it burned the sea of trees at a speed visible to the naked eye. The entire battlefield was enveloped in flames, and Uchiha Kagami surrounded them from above, making it impossible for them to break out. It's broken. This is going to trap us here. Third Hokage's expression changed. Quick! Who knows water style? Put out the flames, otherwise we will all suffocate to death here. Onoki. I can't, I'm Tsuchikage. Shie was helpless. I only know puppetry. Although my high-pressure water gun can spray water, I can't extinguish this large-scale fire style. Raikage and his son. Don't look at us, we from Cloud Shinobi village are just reckless. The atmosphere was silent now. After the silence, there was intense despair. As the flames quickly burned through the trees, they lost the support of oxygen and all fell to the ground and fell into a coma. The majestic 5 shadows, it seemed like he was defeated easily. Only Onoki was holding the stone tightly in a daze. Uchiha Kagami couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. He looked down at the crowd and said calmly, is this the 5 Hokage? It's really weak. Raikage and his son are just like. They're a bit on the same speed and strength. Without the puppet, Scorpion is in trouble all the time. Third Hokage's strength is acceptable, but there are no new breakthroughs. As for Onoki, retire as soon as you are old. Don't always occupy Kage's position. It would be better to leave it to young people. However, before he could finish his evaluation, in the sea of fire, an old and firm voice came out. I'm not occupying it, it's just that Iwagakure here has no one to inherit the will of the stone. I will retire when one appears. I have inherited the will of stone. I will always persevere and never give up. Even though the other Kages have been defeated, I, Onoki, have not yet been defeated. Onoki held his breath and said resolutely, Uchiha Madara was the shadow of my youth. I have been afraid and retreated for many years. This time I will never retreat. I will never allow myself to lose to Uchiha again. Dust Escape Original Realm Peeling Technique, Chapter 88 Uchiha Kagami. Onoki, I can do what you can. Advertisement stab. Onoki clapped his hands. The dust escape block appeared and swept in all directions. The nearby battlefield was cleared in just an instant. Onoki clenched his fists. We have not lost yet. We will never admit defeat until the moment of death. As expected of you, Onoki. Uchiha Kagami glanced at him appreciatively. Among these 5 people, only Onoki is the strongest. The most important thing is the will to never give up. Even at such an old age, this is still the case, but such a person actually became a black man in Boruto. To be honest, he couldn't figure it out, at this moment. The other shadows also stood up. Also because of Onoki's encouragement, the other Kages also cheered up. Uchiha Kagami, since you claim that you don't take anyone else seriously except Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara, then our 5 Kages will besiege you. It's not mean. Now it's time to go all out. We will definitely defeat you. Okay, come on. Uchiha Kagami is calm and collected. Allowing the opponent to attack him, Onoki lay on top of Third Hokage. I saw that Third Hokage was faster than before, and with a flash of lightning, he was close to the enemy in an instant. Using the ultra-light heavy rock technique to reduce Raikage's weight, has it become faster? Uchiha Kagami raised her hand, releases fire style again, but is blocked by sand iron. Third Hokage took the opportunity to go behind, and Onoki used the super heavy rock technique to instantly increase the weight of Raikage's body. Hell thrust Ibn-sen hand, Third Hokage shouted angrily. And with Onoki's blessing, this time he actually penetrated Susanoo. Although it was only the initial state, it was still shocking enough, and the opponent's power did not decrease at all, and the blood hole was pierced through Uchiha Kagami's body. 1. Onoki and Third Hokage were immediately delighted. But the next second, the smiles on their faces faltered. Because the Uchiha in front of him turned into a tree, it was obviously just a clone. Immediately afterwards, a sting. The chakra blade penetrated the Third Hokage from bottom to top. Puff. Third Hokage suddenly vomited blood. Fourth Hokage ducked and took Third Hokage away. But this kind of penetrating injury was too serious, and no one present was a medical ninja, so there was no way for Third Hokage to recover. Father. Damn it. Fourth Hokage was furious and helpless. Uchiha Kagami appeared from under the woods and stood on the opposite side, his eyes gradually becoming colder. Since you are fighting to the death, then I will help you. If this ninja world wants peace, bloodshed will always be needed. I have spared you, father and son, many times. Since you don't know how to praise me, then I can only send you to see the King of Hell. Ahem. I can't die now. Third Hokage coughed up blood though. But the control muscle stopped the bleeding, though it held on. But it won't last long. As time goes by, you will still die. It's just a matter of sooner or later. It's so boring. Let's do something interesting next. Don't say that I bully others and be mean to others. You are ninjas who bear the name of Shadow. Advertisement. Uchiha Kagami clapped his hands. Chakra surged, and 25 wood clones suddenly emerged from the body. This time it became 25 versus 5, and this wood clone could actually cast Susanoo. Even though it was only the third stage, it was enough to make the 5 shadows embarrassed. These 5 people are resisting with difficulty. As for Uchiha Kagami's true form, he was sitting on a high place looking down and admiring it, thinking secretly in his heart. Uchiha Madara doesn't know when it will end, so let's waste some time and play with the 5 shadows, Yahiko Nagato. The rest it's up to you. Damn it, too strong. Shie couldn't help but said in despair. These 25 wood-style clones can actually use Susanoo. If this continues, we will be defeated. B**********D. Third Hokage and Fourth Hokage are tough. He kept pushing back 1 or 2 Susanoo with his body, but to no avail. Third Hokage panted. My injuries are getting worse and worse. Even if I can't die, I will die of exhaustion. Fourth Hokage said angrily, but we have no choice, father, we have no choice but to fight hard. Shie was speechless at once. You can still fight hard, I have no puppets. Are you going to fight with your head? As expected, Scorpion was defeated quickly and his body was shattered by a punch. The puppet's severed limbs were flying around, and even the regeneration core in its heart was nowhere to be found. Cage. Fourth Hokage is anxious, but there was a flaw, and the clone seized the opportunity. With one hand, he held Fourth Hokage in his palm, Sharingan suddenly focused, and Fourth Hokage suddenly fell into the illusion. Earth-style Iwa hands. Just when many Susanoo clones wanted to take advantage of the victory and pursue it. Onoki shouted, and a huge stone hand held Fourth Hokage in his palm, protecting Fourth Hokage firmly. Taking advantage of the protection stage, Onoki awakened Fourth Hokage. Shadows, stand up, it's a matter of life and death, and morale must not be destroyed. Have you forgotten what you are fighting for? For the village. The villagers believe that we can recover the wages. We must not let down the hope of the village. Onoki floated at the front, encouraging everyone while fighting. The remaining 3 shadows also cheered up. Even Scorpion used its regeneration cord to penetrate into the amber and continued to fight. The 5 people who were originally in low morale became a rope. As expected of Onoki. Not only is he older, the gap in combat experience is immediately apparent, but he also has strong leadership skills. Uchiha Kagami smiled calmly in her heart. I used the weighted rock technique to organize a group to do Nengu, and also helped Hokage release Sharingan's genjutsu control. Not bad, no wonder Uchiha Madara later said that this kid's skills have improved a lot. Then let's see what you can do, right? His mind moved. 25 Susanoo began the siege. The huge blades fell in unison, and it seemed that there was almost no possibility of rescue. And that's when Onoki clasped his hands together again, chakra gathered crazily, and shouted angrily. Dust escape limited peeling technique, a sting. As soon as he finished speaking, the light of dust escape swept across. This time the dust escape was several times larger than the previous one, and its power was also expanded many times. The 25 wood-style clones, including Susanoo, were completely covered by dust escape and completely turned into dust. Watching. It will fall on him. However, Uchiha had already expected it and said with a joking expression, Onoki, you can do it, I can do it too, and I am stronger than you. Dust Escape Original Realm Peeling Technique, Chapter 89 2 Choices, Surrender or Die. Advertisement snap. Uchiha Kagami clasped her hands together. The dust escape crystal blocks quickly condensed and turned into a huge dust escape light. He collided hard with the opponent's Chen escape. In the blink of an eye, all the trees around him disappeared, and all the soil animals were cleared away. Chen escape. It's actually Chen escape. Onoki looked horrified and said in disbelief. How is it possible? This guy can actually use my dust escape? Third Hokage was also dumbfounded. Sure enough, when he said he didn't know anything, I should have doubted it, he originally knew everything. Fourth Hokage. How can it be repaired? He can do everything we know, how to fight this. Scorpion. Looks like he doesn't know my puppetry skills. Third Cage. Could it be that he doesn't like it? Scorpion. Please shut up. Third Cage. Okay. Although they had the leisure to joke around, but it became more and more heavy, and this time morale fell to the bottom again. Onoki looked unwilling, but my heart became more and more powerless. He knows the difficulty of controlling Chen escape better than anyone else, and he also understands its power. Limited peeling technique and original peeling technique are actually both dust escapes, but they are injected with different chakra, resulting in different scale and power. However, Uchiha Kagami peels off technique in its original form. Forcibly blocking his own limit peeling technique, it is enough to show that not only the opponent's control is amazing, but chakra is much stronger than him. Aren't you going to give up yet? Okay, then I'll show you my heyday. I will let you know that no matter whether it is a shadow or anything, it has no effect in front of my complete body, Susanoo. Uchiha Kagami looked calm. With a thought, chakra rose into the sky. The astonishing chakra swept across the entire battlefield, and each rib condensed, then transformed into a bearded giant wearing a mask. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked and became more and more desperate. So, So big. Is this the real Susanoo? Damn, what an amazing Shikara is this? Uchiha Kagami smiled contemptuously. It's not over yet. Certainly, make a fist with one hand. Mask Susanoo rises again. A large amount of chakra quickly condensed and turned into a huge humanoid giant. There are 4 chakra swords on his waist, and a pair of huge wings on his back, giving people boundless shock like a god. Onoki raised his head and murmured in fear. Such a huge chakra, is this stronger than Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama? Uchiha Kagami's strength is actually terrifying to this level? Chie was hiding in Filiu Amber but was trembling. Is this the power of God? Third Hokage said desperately. Our powers are not in the same dimension at all. Uchiha Kagami has been playing tricks on us from the beginning. Advertisement Raikage and his son said in disbelief. A new ninja legend is about to appear. And for Uchiha Kagami, the perfect Susanoo this time is completely different from the last one. Although it was also a complete body last time, in fact, his chakra has not grown to the point where it is now, and it is far inferior to Uchiha Madara's Susanoo. But now, it can be said that he didn't notice it at all. Susanoo's weakness is her body, but Kagami's body is already the number 1 in the ninja world, so it is even worse. Uchiha Kagami looked down at them. I already said that. No one can stop me except Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama. What a pity, they are both gone. But you should be thankful for this. This place is barely big enough for me to deal with alone, because if I were to fight the 3 of them, the entire country of grass and everything nearby would be wiped out. As soon as he finished speaking, he drew the chakra blade from his waist. He raised his hand and swiped suddenly, and the amazing blade turned into red light. Several kilometers away, the 2 tall peaks were flattened, and the 5 shadows swept by the airwaves were unable to stand still. And seeing the disappearing mountain peaks in the distance, the 5 figures were horrified and all collapsed on the ground. Uchiha Kagami said calmly, Susanoo represents destruction. It can cut everything in the forest with one strike, and even the tailed beasts can't resist it. Onoki gritted his teeth and said, is this the power of the perfect Susanoo? But why didn't he show it to Uchiha Madara when Wu-sama and I went to see him? Could it be? You guessed it right. Have you ever seen an adult who would be serious with a kid? Jang shrugged. Really, Onoki also gave up resistance. Are you going to kill us? Uchiha Kagami said calmly. It depends on your attitude. If you are still stubborn, I will kill you without mercy. What do you mean? What is your purpose? Onoki said in a low voice. The purpose is very simple, which is peace in the ninja world. Peace in the ninja world. I don't believe it. Onoki was the first one not to believe it. You teamed up with the Akatsuki organization to defraud us of so much money, but you said you did this for the sake of peace in the ninja world? Yes. The ninja world needs peace, but peace requires force. Uchiha Kagami said cheekily. Nagato's Rinnegan, who has the eyes of a fairy, is undoubtedly the savior of this world. But the savior is still too young and needs some room to grow. So we need some funding, but you as the great ninja village are definitely not willing, so we can only do this. Besides, does all that money belong to you? Doesn't it belong to the Daming Mansion? So why are you feeling distressed? 5 shadows were suddenly speechless. Your disciples need to be cultivated, so you just pick our wool? So domineering? Uchiha Kagami said slowly. You are destined to not be able to take away this money, and you must jointly clarify. The Akatsuki organization is a just organization, and every one of our employment fees is reasonable and legal, and there is no fraud. Onoki's tone was difficult and very hesitant. Is this too much? We in the great ninja village are all shameless. Yes, all of you ninja villages are shameless. I know you are not doing it for money, but to gain face for the village, but unfortunately, you have kicked me off. Uchiha Kagami sarcastically said, so you can only surrender. To be honest, if it weren't for me, this battle would definitely plunge the major ninja villages into chaos. Only I can calm everything down. Onoki asked. The Second Ninja World War, wasn't it started by you Konoha? These 3 wars are just a continuation of the last grudges. I provoked it, but even if I didn't provoke it, you wouldn't have taken action. I just struck first, that's all. But now that we in Konoha have obtained the benefits we deserve, this war can be stopped. Uchiha Kagami looked at them and said without any doubt, of course I know your pride is a shadow, so I give you 2 choices, either surrender immediately and stop the war. Either you 5 shadows will all die here. Chapter 90 The Mysterious Masked Man, Impure World Reincarnation Solution. Advertisement Rain Shinobi Village. It was raining all the time and the atmosphere was not very harmonious. On top of the tower, a girl wearing paper flowers on her head was sorting out her finances. Yahiko and Nagato go out to make money in the name of the Akatsuki organization. In addition to the 5 major ninja villages, the small ninja villages are also included. And, relatively speaking, Shao Ninja Village does not have much money. But I can't bear the large number. The hiring task is very simple. As the spiritual leader of Rain Shinobi Village, Yahiko, although his strength has not yet grown, definitely needs to go out and do things. On the contrary, Conan just needs to stay in Rain Shinobi Village like a good housewife. At this moment, Conan sat at the table and counted how much money he earned. The country of Tea, 5 million in employment wages. The Kingdom of Ice, 7.5 million employment fee. The country of Shit, 2.5 million employment fee. There is also the employment fee of Danan Village. It has earned almost 10.5 billion in the past few years, and the 5 major ninja villages account for the majority. It is indeed a big country, but it is rich. It depends on the teacher's help, otherwise it is really difficult to make money. Conan happily counts the money. Standing next to him was a familiar figure, naturally Hanzo. He was not taken back by Orochimaru, but because the change of power in the village was not that simple, it took some time to relax. After all, Hanzo's prestige in Rain Shinobi village is not low. If it disappears for no reason, it can easily cause unnecessary trouble. Hanzo couldn't help but said with disdain, I thought you three would be the future of Rain Shinobi village, but I didn't expect that you would actually join forces with Konoha. Handing over the village to you is really the biggest mistake of my life. And that Uchiha Kagami, how dare you allow you to deceive the ninja world like this? Rain Shinobi village will be destroyed because of you. Don't let me find a chance. Sooner or later I will make him pay the price. Yes, in his opinion the village must be independent. Although these three teenagers were extremely talented, they followed Jing's advice. Continuously making money through war is no less than dancing on the tip of a knife, and his strength in the mirror is still the same as it was 10 years ago. Therefore, in his opinion, things are now exposed. The other four major ninja villages will never let go. Including the three young executives of Rain Shinobi village, they will definitely be liquidated by the big powers in the future, and Rain Shinobi village will be completely destroyed by then. In his opinion this was a wrong choice, so he regretted agreeing to Uchiha Kagami. Conan blinked his beautiful eyes and showed a confident smile. What do you know? You have no idea how powerful the teacher is, so what if the matter has been exposed? Teachers can deal with them casually. Not only do we have to earn this salary, but we will continue to do so in the future. Do you know what you are doing? Hanzo hated the iron and said, Rain Shinobi village is just a small shinobi village. Even if you have Uchiha Kagami to support you, he is not from Rain Shinobi village after all. Once he cannot deal with the anger of the 5 cages. Then the first one to bear the brunt is Rain Shinobi village, and Uchiha Kagami will definitely abandon Konoha. And Konoha is also the #1 ninja village in the ninja world. At most, it will cause bleeding. But Rain Shinobi village will be destroyed because of this. You are so stupid. It's you who's stupid, Hanzo. Conan rolled his eyes and said to him, the strength of Rain Shinobi village has been continuously improving in the past few years. The employment fees earned through the Akatsuki organization. We have more and more excellent ninjas, and Rain Shinobi village will only get better and better, powerful. Until it is comparable to the 5 major ninja villages, and you are worried about the wrath of the 5 cages, that is even more nonsense. You know nothing about the teacher. Who? Clang. Not finished yet, advertisement. Suddenly, a kunai came flying towards me. Conan frowned and raised his hand. He threw out a shuriken and knocked away the opponent's kunai. Conan stood up and looked alert. He looked at the corner of the room and found his target. This person, wearing a black robe, wearing a hood and a mask underneath. A mask twisted from the outside to the inside to form 2 eyes. Through the mask, the deep eyes stared at Conan like prey. Who are you? Who sent you here? Conan said in a low voice. Me? I'm Uchiha Madara. Before he could finish speaking, Conan said sarcastically. Haha, it's so funny. Why does everyone say that they are Uchiha Madara? The last person who pretended to be Uchiha Madara was killed, but you still dare to come? Little girl, you will believe it soon. Genjutsu Sharingan. The man in the vortex mask laughed evilly. The dark eyes actually turned into 3 Tomo Sharingan. Sharingan? Damn it, you actually. Conan was careless. The whole person fell into a coma. Hanzo witnessed the whole process, looked him up and down and said warily. Who are you? Why did you attack Conan? Do you want to deal with our Rain Shinobi village? No, Rain Shinobi village doesn't matter. What matters is Nagato. With this little girl. Half of the plan is completed. The masked man chuckled. Are you going to threaten Nagato? Fire style detonate the flame array. Hanzo was about to ask something. His whole body suddenly became excited, and it was obvious that Orochimaru noticed it. He forcibly controlled Hanzo's body from a distance, and Hanzo immediately raised his hand and pinned it to the ground. Boom. A large number of detonating symbols came out. It seemed to cover the masked man's body and then exploded. This move was a stunt that injured Nagato's legs. In his opinion, the mysterious man in front of him would not be able to survive even if he had Sharingan. However, the man in front of me was standing like this. The smoke dispersed, and no injuries were sustained at all. What is extremely surprising is that this man is not even covered in dust. Seeing this scene, Hanzo was shocked. How is it possible? Even if my fire style can't kill you, how is it possible that there is no injury at all? What did you do? I didn't do anything, I just stood there. Fire style just wants to hurt me, but he underestimates the power of the Uchiha clan, right? The masked man said proudly. Interesting, I kind of believe you are Uchiha Madara now, and I want to work with you, but my body is not under my control. Hanzo gritted his teeth. He was about to rush over again, but the masked man said a few seals. Hanzo of the salamander burst out with force, but Orochimaru briefly lost control due to the distance. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Hanzo quickly formed seals with his hands and let out a low drink. Impure World Reincarnation Solution, Chapter 91 Time and Space Ninjutsu, you little brats are so noisy. Advertisement. As soon as he finished speaking, white light came out of him. After the white light dissipated, his eyes returned to clarity. Although there are still lines of Impure World Reincarnation on his face, he has completely released Orochimaru's control. You even know the solution to Impure World Reincarnation? Hanzo looked at him with a complicated expression and said, I completely believe that you are Uchiha Madara now, but, Aren't you worried that I will rebel? You can try, Hanzo. I can give you freedom, or I can give you death. Even impure world reincarnation can't stop me. The masked man said ambitiously. No one in this world can stop my ambition except Hashirama, and that guy Uchiha Kagami. Hinders my plan, and the 5 shadows will completely end his life. Well, although the 5 shadows are very strong, but... Hanzo hesitated for a moment and said, this girl seems to believe in his teacher's strength. What if the 5 shadows fail to solve Uchiha Kagami? Then I will kill him myself, the masked man said confidently. What is your purpose? Eye of the Moon. I will plunge the entire ninja world into a world of genjutsu, thereby bringing complete peace to the ninja world. Are you interested in joining? Anyway, I'm already alone. It doesn't matter, I'll join. Hanzo thought for a moment and said, but I hope that after getting rid of Nagato, I can regain control of Rain Shinobi village. It would be better for me to develop this village. Who said we want to deal with Nagato? The masked man looked strange. Hanzo was confused. Huh? Didn't you say you wanted to deal with Nagato? It's just a fight, not to kill Nagato. I want to use Conan's to make Nagato work for me. Only if you see the darkness of this world will you become my pawn. The masked man said calmly, but I am not suitable to show up. If you go with another stupid guy, I will ask Ambu from Kirigakure to cooperate with you, remember. Yahiko must die in front of Nagato, not even Conan. Knew. Hanzo nodded, although he was confused, he didn't ask any more questions. The reason why the masked man must let Yahiko die is actually very simple. Because Yahiko carries a heavier weight in Nagato's heart. Nagato may not listen to Conan if he owns Rinnegan, but he will definitely listen to Yahiko. And, to a certain extent, Nagato was influenced by Yahiko's leadership qualities. Conan is far inferior in this aspect. In order for Nagato to be blackened and resurrected by Rinne Tensai in the future, Yahiko must die to be on the safe side. Hanzo, I will watch you silently and don't do anything stupid, the masked man warned. I understand, Madara-sama. The masked man smiled inwardly. The corner of the mouth is harder to suppress than the AK. But Hanzo didn't know it clearly, he only saw the man's eyes flashing red. Tisk, tisk, a black hole actually appeared in front of me. The mysterious masked man walked in and quickly disappeared. Seeing this, Hanzo's pupils tightened, and he was shocked. Time and space ninjutsu? Uchiha Madara can even time and space ninjutsu, but it is completely different from Uchiha Kagami's flying thunder god. This guy is really well hidden. It seems he can only act obediently and deal with Yahiko and Nagato first. Outside Rain Shinobi village, Yahiko and Nagato are rushing back. There were smiles on their faces, and they had no idea that something had happened to the village. And this time they accepted an order from Shao Ninja village. The task was to simply kill the A-level rebellious ninja, which was very simple for them. But for Shao Ninja village, A-level rebel ninja is the Jonin level. They simply don't have the right people to kill such ninjas. For Shao Ninja village, there are endless tasks like this, and they made 3 million taels in just one stroke. Advertisement as for Shao Ninja village. The 5 shadows attack on Konoha was considered news from the upper echelons. Only the top leaders of the 5 major countries knew the inside story, and even the villagers in their villages did not know, let alone Shao Ninja village. Therefore, the Akatsuki organization is still a justice organization. This money is so easy to make, Yahiko said with a smile. Although Shao Ninja village is a little poor, the task is so simple that even I can handle it. It can be completed without the teacher's intervention. If there were 10 orders, it would be at least more than 30 million taels. It's a sure profit and no loss, and the risk is still very low. Indeed, this kind of order is simple and hassle-free. The task of the great ninja village is too troublesome, and it will affect the opponent's village at every turn. Nagato said helplessly. Sometimes I can't hide my clumsiness at all. I can't collect the wool after killing him at once, and it's also very troublesome to sneak into the enemy's village. Yes, but fortunately there is a teacher to help. Etc. Yahiko narrowed his eyes. A small white snake appeared. The snake's mouth suddenly opened and spit out a long scroll. Nagato asked curiously. What? The news sent by Orochimaru senpai. This time there was no advance notice. It seems that the matter is very urgent. Yahiko took the scroll and scanned it quickly, and his expression suddenly changed. No, just an hour ago, Orochimaru senpai said. Hanzo broke free from the shackles of his impure world reincarnation and captured Conan alive. What? Quick! Go back quickly. No, Nagato didn't wait to say anything. Yahiko pointed around and immediately found a large number of ninjas surrounding them. On the mountain rock directly opposite, Conan's whole body was tied up, with a pitiful expression on his face, which made people feel distressed. Nagato, Yahiko, run, don't save me, danger, there are ambushes nearby. It doesn't matter if I'm alone. If I die, I'll die, you guys run away. Yahiko looked weird. Good guy, we all saw the ninjas around us. You don't need to remind me, the guy arranged by the teacher doesn't look like him. But fortunately, the people who are familiar with the 3 of them must be their own people, and Hanzo didn't seem to notice anything weird. Nagato seemed to have noticed something, and felt a little more at ease, but his expression was still extremely anxious. No, we must save you, don't worry, Conan. No matter what, I will definitely save you. Conan said hysterically. No, you go quickly, Nagato, Yahiko. Avenge me, if you have a chance in the future, you must feel the pleasure for me. Shut up. Don't think about sacrifice, we will definitely save you. Nagato suddenly shouted loudly. This guy is so awesome, his secrets are almost exposed. It's so obvious that even a fool can see it, right? But no matter what. Hanzo's IQ was about the same as that of an old dog, and he didn't notice anything was wrong at all. Hanzo couldn't help it anymore and angrily shouted. Shut the hell up. Why are you making such a fuss? You brats are so noisy. That redhead. Kill Yahiko, and I'll let this woman go. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what will happen next. Nagato. Then kill him. Yahiko. Kill quickly, we still have to go home for dinner. Hanzo was confused. What the hell? Want me to kill you quickly? This plot development. Why is it completely different from what he thought? Chapter 92 Six Paths Ninja Tool Seal. Are you Obito? Advertisement. No. What are you talking about? Hanzo was a little doubtful about life, and said with fierce eyes. Isn't this girl your companion? Or are you deliberately retreating in order to advance? Believe it or not, I will kill her now, Shinshin. I didn't expect that you would find out about retreating in order to advance. Yahiko turned around helplessly. Nagato, kill me. Okay. Nagato raised the kunai. Poof, he stabbed Yahiko in the waist. Blood flowed across his face and he collapsed on the spot. Although he looked dead, Nagato remained expressionless, even a little stupid. No, act quickly. Damn it, why is this kid so stunned? Conan on the cliff was a little anxious and immediately wailed. Yahiko. No, you can't die. You haven't gone to the toilet with me, you haven't felt shit together, no, my companion. Ah, Hanzo, I want your life. Only then did Nagato react. Rinnegan's eyes widened, and chakra surged from his body. Hanzo snorted coldly and immediately waved his hand. Do it, yes, Master Hanzo, quick, kill that red-haired brat. Mist Shinobi, who was disguised as Konoha Anbu, took action. Between his fierce eyes, dense kunai and shurikens flew towards him. Clang. Dang, 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 Nagato raised his right hand. Bounce all the shurikens and kunai away. Nagato bent his legs, jumped onto the cliff, and immediately picked up Conan to retreat. Don't even think about it, fire style detonate the flame array. Hanzo's long hair is flowing. While retreating, he pressed one hand on the ground. A large number of detonating symbols emerged and were about to cover Nagato's legs. In the past, Nagato might have really been hit, but after Uchiha Kagami's teachings and opening his eyes in advance, such attacks were too little of a threat to him. There are so many ways to deal with Nagato today. Earth-style Earth-stone dragon, Nagato shouted in his heart. The ground suddenly shattered and turned into a large amount of stone. The stones quickly formed a stone dragon, lifting Nagato and Conan high. The detonating talisman on the ground exploded, but it had no effect. Thank you, Nagato. Thank you. Conan burst into tears and said with a bit of vulgarity. If we have the opportunity to poop together in the future, this is my highest respect for you. Shut up. Nagato whispered with disgust on his face. Don't cause trouble for me at this time. If the teacher hadn't said you were useful. Otherwise I wouldn't have let you pretend to be Conan. How can a girl always talk about shit and shit? Afe grinned and said sternly. I know, but I can't help it, but Uchiha Kagami arranged for me to pretend to be Conan to prevent Conan from having an accident. What if the other party breaks up with me? I'm very strong. Okay, shut up. Good, and Hanzo not far away. Looking up at this moment, I couldn't help but sigh in my heart. As expected of a brat with a Rinnegan. Can he actually block my detonating flame formation? But, this kid has really turned dark. Although he looks similar, he doesn't have any special power. However, advertisement Nagato seemed to dispel doubts. He raised his hand and pressed it to the ground, his eyes filled with hatred. Summoning technique Ghetto statue. Ho ho, there was an angry shout. The huge half-body Ghetto statue emerged from the ground. But because Nagato was normal in advance, there was no need to drain his life when the chakra was enough, so the golem did not get out of the iron rod. With one hand raised, he killed a large number of enemies. Then, even more so in the mouth of the golem, a long translucent dragon emerged. The souls of all enemies wherever it went were devoured, leaving no trace behind. Ah, no, what kind of ninjutsu is this? I don't want to die. Run, everyone, run. The shrill screams continued. In less than a moment, the numerous Mist Shinobi Anbu were completely killed. And as Nagato roared again, the translucent dragon slammed into Hanzo, and it looked like a huge crisis. Blinking technique. But Hanzo was not panicked. Form a seal with one hand and dodge in an instant. Appearing behind a big tree 100 meters away, it seemed that after seeing the golem disappear, he showed a triumphant expression. This power is powerful, but Nagato is still too young. Although I was defeated by Uchiha Kagami, I was still the pinnacle of the ninja world. But this time is enough to prove that Nagato has gone dark, and those Mist Shinobi ninjas disguised as Konoha Anbu, even though they are dead. They have been used to their full potential. The mission assigned to me by Madara-sama has been completed. Hanzo, why are you planning to run away? Suddenly, there was a joking voice in front of him. I didn't know when Nagato appeared in front of him. Moreover, there was a jar placed next to him. This jar was all yellow and looked ordinary, but it made Hanzo quite uneasy. What? Wait, this is a Six Paths ninja tool. You know. Hanzo just responded with a few words. Nagato opened the lid of the amber bottle. Aiming directly at him, Hanzo was completely sucked in, and his entire body disappeared. Success? Conan walked over and said with a surprised expression, "It is indeed a six-paths ninja tool. It is more reliable than ordinary sealing techniques. Impure world reincarnation can also seal it." Nagato said with a smile, "Yes, the teacher gave it to me before he left. He had already expected that Madara might release Hanzo's control of the dirt to deal with you. This amber purification bottle looks ordinary, but it will be sucked into it as long as you respond. Cloud Shinobi Village uses this to seal the rampaging Eight Tails. But since Hanzo was sealed, Uchiha Madara should be left alone." Ah-Face suddenly thought of it and immediately reminded, "Where is Yahiko? Go and recover Yahiko's body, otherwise the wound will be healed in a while. Yahiko was stabbed in the waist by a kunai just now. If he followed the past, he would definitely die, but Uchiha Kagami was prepared. He asked Orochimaru to develop various versions of Hashirama potions, one of which was a potion that could temporarily increase vitality, although it could only last for a day or two. But a mere kunai is not a fatal injury at all and will heal soon. It's okay to pretend to be dead. Oh, I almost forgot." Nagato hurriedly walked over, but the next second, the space suddenly became distorted. A masked man appears next to Yahiko's corpse. He looked up and down at Nagato, Conan, and Yahiko's body, seemingly thinking about something. Nagato was just wary, but soon showed a gentle smile. "Who are you? Time and space ninjutsu?" "Wait," the teacher said. "This time and space ninjutsu, which is different from Flying Thunder God, seems to be Minato's only disciples can do it. Are you Obito? Why are you here? The teacher didn't tell me." Chapter 93. A Fei. "You faker, you are going to eat shit." Advertisement. And one listened to Obito. The masked man suddenly became anxious and said with cold eyes, "What Obito? Your whole family is Obito. I am Uchiha Madara, Nagato, Conan, Yahiko. Are you acting for me? Deliberately deceiving me?" "What? Are you Uchiha Madara?" Nagato and Conan looked at each other. I suddenly panicked. It was over now. The plan of pretending to be black was discovered by Uchiha Madara, and Afei was even more cowardly, and he was extremely afraid. To know, as a double agent, he only needs to provide information. It is absolutely impossible for this kind of plan to help Uchiha Kagami. If Madara knew about it, she would definitely die, but Kagami convinced herself. After agreeing, let him use the toilet in Konoha unobstructed. Finally he agreed. This is tantamount to betraying Uchiha Madara, and being caught red-handed by the tail, isn't this a total loss? However, the masked man in front of him didn't seem to see through Afei's disguise. Instead, he looked at Yahiko who was lying on the ground. After realizing that his injuries had healed, he suddenly showed strong murderous intent. "Dare to lie to me? Go to hell." He raised his hand and threw out the kunai. It is about to penetrate Yahiko, but Yahiko cannot react in time. But Nagato raised his hand and flicked the kunai away, and Conan immediately brought Yahiko over. After Yahiko recovered, he was too lazy to pretend and asked coldly, "Who are you? You are definitely not Uchiha Madara." The teacher said that Uchiha Madara's time is approaching and there is no way he will take action. The masked man sneered. "You know nothing about Uchiha. It seems that Uchiha Kagami plans to let you deceive me. It's really insidious. If I hadn't been worried about Hanzo doing something stupid, I would have been deceived by you. Since you can't be used by me, Nagato, then hand over the Rinnegan. In fact, your Rinnegan is mine. I transplanted it when you were young and kept it with you temporarily. Now it's time for it to return to its original owner." "Is it? Lol," Nagato said seriously. "What evidence do you have that this is your Rinnegan? Is your name written on it?" The masked man was speechless for a moment. Is this guy so shameless now? No? Who taught him that? How could a good young man suddenly become such a rogue? No matter how you argue, these eyes belong to me, not yours. The masked man took a deep breath, held back his temper and said, "Kid, I advise you to hand over Rinnegan honestly, otherwise you will not be able to bear the consequences. If you were really Uchiha Madara, you wouldn't be just a threat. I'm curious about who else besides the teacher and Obito actually possesses the Flying Thunder God technique. Please stay with me." Shura Dao fingertip missile. Nagato smiled lightly. "Open your hands and twist them quickly." The mechanism popped up missiles one after another and blasted them hard at the opponent. But no explosion was heard. I saw the masked man just standing there and the space in front of him was actually distorted. Tisk. Tisk. Advertisement the moment the missile touched. It was directly distorted and disappeared. Seeing this scene, Nagato's pupils suddenly tightened. All my attacks failed? Space distortion? Is this guy's time and space ninjutsu? Is he really Madara? And at this moment, the masked man stood there, although his face could not be seen. But his exposed eyes were scarlet. He looked at Nagato and said sarcastically, "Nagato, these Rinnegans are not your original match after all. No matter what. You can't predict the adaptation. I advise you not to struggle. You will never stand a chance of winning against my time and space ninjutsu." I don't believe it. Universal pull. Nagato does not believe in evil. He opened his right hand, and his palm seemed to turn into a black hole. The black hole burst out with endless gravitational force, which directly acted on the opponent's body, and his body was quickly pulled towards him. The moment you get close, a black stick came out of Nagato's sleeve and stabbed the masked man hard. Huh? It's interesting. The masked man raised his eyebrows lightly and clenched his fingers. The space twisted again, this time it seemed more powerful than the last time, and most of the black rod was distorted and disappeared. Not good, can't continue. Nagato's expression changed slightly. They were about to distance themselves immediately, but the masked man stepped forward. There seemed to be strange forces affecting the surroundings. Nagato had no choice but to open his hands and shout lowly. Shinra Tenjung. Boom, the ground and surrounding trees collapsed. The boundless repulsive force rolled out, forcing the opponent back dozens of meters. Although this level of Shinra Tensai seems to have little power, in fact, each strike can severely damage a Jonin. But not only was the masked man unscathed, he just dusted off the invisible dust on his body. Nagato was shocked inside, with a solemn expression. This guy's time and space ninjutsu is completely different from the teacher's flying thunder god. It is similar to Obito's, but it seems different. The surroundings seem to be able to distort space at will. If I hadn't reacted quickly and released the Shinra Tenjung just now, my body would have been twisted in half. But again, the opponent's time and space ninjutsu seems to be able to offset more than half of the Shinra Tenjung of this scale, but it seems that it cannot be completely ignored. This is why. This power is really weird. Is he really Uchiha Madara? He doesn't know much about Uchiha Madara. Although he has heard a few words from his teacher, he still doesn't know what kind of power Uchiha Madara has. Does he also know how to use time and space ninjutsu? Not far away, Yahiko and Konan looked anxious, and the latter seemed to be ready to make a move. At this moment, the masked man's scarlet eyes showed a hint of joking. I said, Nagato, you are no match for me. Even if you have my Rinnegan and have been trained by Uchiha Kagami for a while, you will never be my opponent. In front of me, Uchiha Madara. Even if Senju Hashirama appears in front of me again, he cannot defeat me. As soon as these words came out, suddenly, there is an extra branch in front of me. It also seemed to be smeared with disgusting yellow slime. Ah-Face suddenly emerged from the ground, and while using the cutting technique, his face was full of disdain and sarcasm. You are definitely not Uchiha Madara. Madara-sama will not belittle Senju Hashirama like this. You fake, I'm going to eat shit. Chapter 94. The weakness of time and space ninjutsu confuses the confident A-Fei. Advertisement whoosh. Ah-Fei raised his hand and shook it. The branches shot through the air and were about to pierce the opponent's head. But the masked man raised his hand and made a gentle move, and the space became distorted again, and the branches were erased, smashed, and even exploded, leaving nothing left. Won't even wood style work? Ah-Fei looked shocked. He looked at the masked man in front of him with a look of shock and fear. When the masked man saw the creature attacking him in front of him, his expression suddenly turned cold. Ah-Fei, how dare you betray me? You guys who eat the inside out, you'd better die. Fire style great fireball technique, hooray, hurrah. The sky was covered with flames, and Ah-Fei went directly into the ground, and Nagato's ninjutsu followed. Water style water dragon bomb technique, large areas of rainwater appeared out of thin air. It turned into a water dragon and collided with the fireball. The flames caused the water to evaporate quickly, turning into a large amount of steam that enveloped it, blocking the opponent's sight. The next second, Nagato appeared behind him. While his hands quickly formed seals, a large shuriken was thrown out. Not only that, with the activation of the shuriken shadow clone technique, these shuriken actually doubled again, and the denseness looked amazing. Little tricks. Earth style wall. The masked man sneered. He raised his hand and pressed it on the ground, and the ground suddenly shook. A thick earthen wall was drilled out, but unlike ordinary earthen walls, this wall also had a head sculpture of Uchiha Madara carved on it. Nagato keenly sensed something was wrong. He actually started using ninjutsu? With his time and space ninjutsu, he could easily erase the shurikens. Why did he use the earth flow wall to resist it instead? Although he is still young now, but he has already mastered a large number of top 5 escape ninjutsu. Under the training of Uchiha Kagami, he has far exceeded his previous level, and his combat awareness is no longer the same as before. And the other party is definitely Sharingan, and it's most likely Mangekyō's Sharingan. With Sharingan's ability, it is naturally useless to envelop him in water mist, because Sharingan can see through the enemy's chakra flow. After guessing the enemy's methods, Nagato made a quick decision and raised his right hand again. Universal pull. In an instant, the majestic suction force suddenly burst out. He pulled the masked man towards him, and the corners of his mouth showed sarcasm. Nagato, you still dare to use universal pull? You are looking for death? As long as my hand touches you, then you will be erased from the space. The moment the masked man approached him, before Nagato could make a move, he raised his hand to touch the opponent. But, the corners of Nagato's mouth curled up slightly. While his right hand remained motionless, his left hand was also raised. Another universal pull was launched, and a rock not far away was controlled and smashed towards the side of the masked man in front of him. What? Universal pull with both hands at the same time? This kid is not simple. The masked man's pupils suddenly tightened. Before he could react, Sharingan's eyes suddenly turned. The space in front of him was greatly distorted, and his whole body was sucked in and disappeared, but he soon appeared on a high cliff. The two of them confronted each other like this. No one took action, but Nagato said with a faint smile, "Your time and space ninjutsu seems to have drawbacks. You can only cause space distortion through physical contact? This attack can distort anything, but the range is only about half your body. Just the fact that you used the earth current wall to block it just now can prove this." And it can only trigger one place at the same time, otherwise. Just now you could have killed me with space distortion with one hand, and twisted away the stones I pulled away with the other hand. Okay, kid. Is there anything else? The masked man pretended to be calm. Of course, you just caused a large-scale space distortion and carried out time and space movement. The range exceeds your attack method, but such similar time and space movement is not harmful. Nagato pointed at him and regained his confidence. Although your time and space ninjutsu is strong, you cannot fully block my universal pull and Shinra Tensei. The strongest lethality can only be achieved by touch. You are much weaker than I thought. You are definitely not Uchiha Madara. At least, my teacher said that only a certain Kakashi likes to carve dog heads on earthen walls, and no one else does it. Then you just carved Madara's head just out of guilt. Who are you? I am Uchiha Madara. Forget it if you don't believe me. The masked man has a tough mouth, but his heart sank. Nagato exceeded his expectations. Unexpectedly, his fighting consciousness was so strong. After only 2 or 3 moves, he discovered the weakness of his own time and space ninjutsu. Although this caught him off guard, he didn't panic. The masked man sneered and said calmly, although your analysis is good, the secret of time and space ninjutsu. You may not know everything. How do you know that I didn't expose a fake weakness just now? It's possible, but I believe you are just a strong person. Nagato analyzed again. Since you have seen through our plan, if you were really capable just now, you could have killed me and taken away Rinnegan, but you didn't. This proves that your strength is nothing more than this. Then see you next time. Nagato kid, my Rinnegan will be temporarily stored in you. Next time when I get all the power back, then the Rinnegan will have to be returned to its original owner. Tisk. Tisk. The masked man's eyes flashed red. Suddenly, the space in front of him became distorted again. After the masked man walked in, the space slowly recovered and then disappeared. Yahiko came over and asked a little puzzled. He left. Why not keep him? This person saw through the teacher's plan. He will be a big threat in the future. You think I don't want to? Nagato rolled his eyes and explained. The summoning Geto statue with Hanzo just now consumed a lot of my chakra. The mysterious masked man didn't really use his full strength, so I'm not sure to keep him. Oh, I understand. Yahiko nodded. The fake Conan has long since returned to his original state. Ah-Fei thought for a moment and said, I plan to report to Master Madara. There must be something wrong with this person's impersonation. I am a double agent now, so I can only do this. Are you sure? That person may be from Uchiha Madara. Once he accuses you of being a traitor, then you are dead. Yahiko frowned. I didn't rebel. Where did I rebel? Ah-Fei smiled and said confidently, he is Master Madara's subordinate. I don't know. Are you going to kill me just because I threw a branch stained with gold juice? Besides, I am the first loyal minister to follow Madara-sama. He also needs someone to keep an eye on you. So as long as I have value, he won't kill me. Chapter 95 Uchiha Madara. I am not alone. I am not alone in my ways. Advertisement, then you go. Okay, Ah-Fei nodded. Then it went into the ground and quickly disappeared. Nagato and Yahiko returned to Rain Shinobi Village and found the hidden Conan. The 3 of them just sat on the high tower, looking at the rain all over the sky. Not long after, Uchiha Kagami also appeared. The Yahiko trio immediately stood up. His face was full of remorse and regret. Yahiko looked ashamed. Teacher. I'm sorry, I messed up your plan. Uchiha Madara sent a masked man who called himself him, and the space ninjutsu was hidden in the dark during the meeting. Without him, the plan would have really come true. Oh, that means Nagato can no longer be an undercover agent? Uchiha Kagami asked. Is such that? What are the physical characteristics of that masked man? What kind of time and space ninjutsu? Nagato pondered for a moment and said, in appearance, he is wearing a black robe and an Uzumaki mask that only exposes his eyes. He looks very similar to Uchiha Madara in temperament, but there are some differences. How should I say? Uchiha Madara is crazy. He seems to be a bit mentally disturbed. There is also a sculpture of Madara's head specially carved on the earth flow wall. As for the time and space ninjutsu, I have already fought with him. It uses the body to release space distortion, which can invalidate any attack. But the disadvantage is that it is only about half the body, so it cannot resist my Shinra Tensei and universal pull, but it can also greatly weaken their power. Another ability is to cause large-scale distortion of space, thereby completing long-distance space movement. But this move can only move but not attack. Uchiha Kagami's eyes lit up and he praised. Okay, Nagato has a strong sense of combat. He caught the opponent's weakness so quickly. He did a good job. Teacher is too praised. He. Young Nagato's face turned red. A little embarrassed, but very happy. Conan frowned and asked, Teacher, who is this person? He probably also owns the Mangekyō Sharingan. We all mistakenly thought it was Obito at first, but we didn't realize it was not until he took action. I don't know, but it must not be Obito. Uchiha Kagami also frowned. I thought that after this plan, I could let Uchiha Madara play with it. But I didn't expect that the other party actually found a new way. Instead of using Obito, he replaced him with a spokesperson to help him implement Project Tsuki no Mi. Or he, a spoiler dog, has no idea at all. But there is no doubt that this person has a high probability of being a member of the Uchiha clan. After all, Mangekyō, who can awaken the time and space ninjutsu, can only exert great power on the original owner, but who exactly is unknown. This is the variable caused by the butterfly effect. Yahiko asked patiently. Then teacher, what should we do now? Should we continue if the plan fails? No, it's not necessary. Uchiha Kagami shook his head and warned. But you don't have to worry too much. Nagato summoned the Geto statue for the first time. Without the vitality provided by the Geto statue, Uchiha Madara will die within 3 days. I have already taken care of the 5 shadows. The third ninja war will also end. Just be careful of that mysterious masked man. Yahiko and Konan. You too, please be safe. I will play with him. Is teacher. Hill Cemetery. In the underground space, the huge Geto statue is missing. The old Uchiha Madara was sitting on a wooden chair, his breath getting weaker and weaker, and he was almost on the verge of death. Advertisement. After a while, the space began to distort, and the masked man came out. Uchiha Madara asked weakly, did the plan succeed? The masked man lowered his head and said respectfully, I'm sorry, Madara-sama, the plan failed. Nagato did not turn black. They seem to have known that Rinnegan is yours. And I expected that you wanted to get Nagato to surrender, and planned to deceive you. But I found out, and I came back after a fight with Nagato. That's it. I know, ahem, old Madara is very calm. But I have some doubts in my heart, what went wrong? Logically speaking, only a few people knew that he was transplanted to Nagato Rinnegan, only Black Zetsu, a Fey and Barb White Zetsu. Someone should know. But the other party learned about it in advance. He even lost the chance to conquer Nagato. This made him a little surprised but not angry. However, at this moment, a curly-headed white Zetsu suddenly emerged from the ground. This person is none other than a Fey. As soon as a Fey appeared, the masked man pointed out coldly. Master Madara, that's him. It's him who betrayed you. He disguised himself as Konan and deceived Hanzo. And Nagato pretended to be dark and sealed Hanzo with the 6 paths ninja. He didn't tell you all this. He has definitely rebelled. Really, Fey? Give me an explanation, elderly Madara said calmly. Madara-sama, I did not betray, a Fey said very sincerely. After all, I am a spy over there. I didn't want to get involved in these things. But that evil Uchiha Kagami actually tempted me with Konoha's toilet, so I had no choice but to agree. Then why didn't you report it in advance? Madara asked again. A Fey was speechless for a moment. The elderly Madara stared at him and said to himself, because you feel that Uchiha Kagami has seen through my plan in advance and made Obito and Nagato all belong to him, and there will never be a chance to be used by me again, so you temporarily switched sides. Now that you see that I have someone available to me, or a mysterious ninja who possesses time and space ninjutsu, you feel that I have hope of victory again. So you are back again? Come and show your loyalty to me? I don't. Madara-sama. A Fey was panicked. Fey, I never thought you white Zetsu were very loyal. The elderly Madara said quietly, and Uchiha Kagami's ability to single-handedly suppress the 5 shadows indeed exceeded my expectations. There is nothing wrong with you betting on both sides. But jumping sideways repeatedly, it's your fault. Before starting a war, you will be eliminated first. No matter which side you are on, you will not be tolerated. If you don't do this next time, you will be responsible for the consequences. Yes, Madara-sama. A Fey breathed a sigh of relief. I couldn't help but start to think deeply. This was the first time he began to think about which side he should choose. And this time, the masked man was shocked and dumbfounded when he heard what had just happened. Madara-sama, you just said that Uchiha Kagami defeated the 5 cages? Wasn't his Mangekyō almost blind? How did you do it? It is false that Mangekyō is blind, a rumor that Uchiha Kagami deliberately spreads. Originally I guessed that his Mangekyō was not blind, but now it seems that not only is he not blind, but he also has the Mangekyō Sharingan that will never burn out. He's just like me back then. He even has a wood style that's not weaker than Hashirama's. He even defeated the 5 cages with his complete Susanoo. What a good boy. The elderly Madara was not afraid at all, but suddenly laughed. Ha ha, ha ha ha, I originally thought. No one in this world can stop me except Hashirama. Now it seems that a second person has appeared, ha ha ha. I am not alone in my ways, I am not alone in my ways. Chapter 96 The Third Ninja War is over, a new ninja legend. Advertisement, Madara-sama. The masked man was a little confused. It's unclear why Uchiha Madara suddenly laughed. The old face was full of expectation and could even be said to be crazy, but it gave people an ultimate charm that he couldn't help but be fascinated by. And for Madara, after Hashirama's death, the entire ninja world had no rival. And he personally is a hero among heroes. In terms of personality charm, strategy, strength, and eloquence, he has already surpassed any Uchiha. In order to create an ideal peaceful world, after he saw the stone tablet left by Sage of 6 Paths at Nanga Shrine, he began to prepare the layout for the Eye of the Moon. Even though Hashirama is dead, but he still hopes that someone will appear in the ninja world who can stop him. It's a pity that after so many years, the top ninjas who emerged in the ninja world are all dead weight. Even the so-called ninja world demigod is just a person in name only. He, just gravel, not half as good as him, but now the appearance of Uchiha Kagami made him suddenly excited. This junior's strength surpasses everyone in the ninja world except him. We can even say, apart from the fact that Rinnegan has not been activated yet, his strength is not much different from what he was in his heyday. You must know that the Uchiha clan is warlike, and even he, Uchiha Madara, is no exception, and during the implementation of Project Tsuki no Mi, it would be too boring if everything goes smoothly. And Uchiha Kagami happens to be strong enough, and he seems to be quite good at strategy, having stopped himself from planning several times. After laughing loudly, the elderly Madara coughed repeatedly, her eyes full of anticipation. Cough cough, cough cough. Not bad, not bad. There is finally an opponent who can rival me in the ninja world, haha. It's from our Uchiha clan. Originally, I looked down upon that group of clan members. They all had no ambition, and were so small that they couldn't even accommodate their own people. Now it seems that our clan is still the same Uchiha clan. When I come back to life in the future, I can actually play with this junior. What about Nagato? Do you need me to snatch the Rinnegan? The masked man asked. Put it aside for the moment. Although your time and space ninjutsu is powerful, it is definitely no match for Uchiha Kagami. If you die too, then the plan will completely fail. Uchiha Madara became weaker and weaker, and there was a trace of fear in his eyes, but the Rinnegan must be taken back. If Uchiha Kagami desperately takes away Nagato's Rinnegan, he may be the first to take it. And I'm going to die soon. This task will be left to you. If possible, it's best to wait until Uchiha Kagami relaxes his guard before taking action. Yes, Lord Madara. The masked man nodded respectfully. Black Zetsu is my will, and you are an extension of my will. I've taught you everything I need to teach you. From now on, you will be Uchiha Madara. You don't have to worry about the mirror exposing you. Ahem. He doesn't have any evidence to prove this. Black Zetsu will also help you. But you must be careful and don't be reckless. Before my resurrection, it's best not to expose your identity. If there are obstacles to the plan, choose a backup plan. Hide my body. Wait until the opportunity. Uchiha Madara gave everything. His eyes gradually dimmed, and then he became completely silent. After watching the whole process, Afei couldn't help but feel sad that a generation of heroes had come to an end, even if it was temporary. I'm going back first. I will selectively report the information here to Uchiha Kagami, but I will also keep an eye on him at all times, to prevent him from destroying our plan. Afei disappeared into the ground. After he left, Black Zetsu emerged. Advertisement. The masked man had a stern look on his face. Afei can't stay any longer. This guy is a loser and has an uncertain stance. It will hinder Madara-sama's plan. Even if there is a slight possibility of betrayal, we must get rid of it. He still has value, and there is still use in keeping him. Black Zetsu said hoarsely. If he really betrays, then we can completely use the trick to trick Uchiha Kagami with false information. Perhaps we can use this to steal Madara-sama's Rinnegan. But you need to plan it in detail. Uchiha Kagami's plan was discovered by you, and he will definitely be by Nagato's side now, so we have to wait for some time. Okay, I'll listen to you. The masked man nodded. Yeah, I'm going to hide Madara-sama's body first to make sure there are no accidents in the plan. Go ahead. Black Zetsu responded. Then he took Madara's body into the ground. The masked man stared at his disappearing shadow, feeling disgust and suspicion in his heart. A black, ugly, disgusting goo. It doesn't look like a human being at all. It's actually Madara-sama's will? Haha. But Master Madara said that you are his will, so be it. But as long as I find out that you have evil intentions, don't blame me for being cruel. Konoha 51 years. Hitaki Sakumo and his son defeated Hyakura. And Kakashi even had the title of Sharingan Kakashi, and Tsunade was completely defeated. Namikaze Minato as Nine Tails Jinchuriki, plus the Flying Thunder God is constantly shuttled across the battlefield. Defeated the 7 Kirigakure ninja swordsmen, the 7 first-generation swordsmen Juzo, Suikoyama Fugu Oni, Kushimaru Kurisu, Tumsao Yebaman, Muli Jinpachi, and Black Ho-Raiga, all of whom died. Later, he even supported Konoha Jonin. After killing Iwagakure's explosion-style carry, Onoki's son Ui fled in panic. The name Namikaze Minato, Yellow Flash, once again became famous in the ninja world, and his combat achievements have also accumulated to an astonishing level, and the people have become more and more trusting in Minato. At the beginning of the year, Minato took over as 4th Hokage. Well received, but these are not the most exciting. The most exciting news is that the 5 shadows joined forces for the first time and were defeated by Uchiha Kagami alone. Then not long after the incident, rumors spread in the ninja world that it was false news that the Akatsuki organization and the United Mirror defrauded tens of billions. Iwagakure, Cloud Shinobi Village, Tsunade joint statement. Shao organization is a legal and compliant organization with no fraud. And the major ninja villages announced their surrender that afternoon. The Third Ninja World War was completely over, and Konoha became the only winner. And Konoha's losses in this war were minimal. Different from the original work, Might Dai was not sacrificed, and Konoha became more prosperous. And Uchiha Kagami's reputation reached its peak and became a new legend in the ninja world. In addition to Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara. The only one, the living legend of the ninja world. Chapter 97 Orochimaru. Then I'm afraid I can't help you. Advertisement, damn it. You're so awesome. The 5 dignified Kage teamed up for the first time. This luxurious lineup was defeated by Uchiha Kagami? It's no wonder that with such strength, he has become a legend in the ninja world. What 5 Kage? It's obviously just Cloud Shinobi Village, Iwagakure and Tsunade. I think their strength is only average. I can do it even if I go up to them. If you really can blow it, 5 shadows are not 5 shadows? That is, which one is not awesome, the 3rd Raikage or the 4th Raikage? That is to say, The fourth case cage is a little too stretched, the third case cage is known as the strongest case cage in history, and the third Tsuchikage is even more proficient in dust escape. That's right. This kind of lineup was defeated by Uchiha Kagami alone. How can it be average in strength? As a new legend of the ninja world, I think it is completely qualified. That's not as good as Uchiha Madara and the God of Ninja. Although I have never seen these two in person, you must know that there are statues of these two in the Valley of the End. You are not retarded upstairs. Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama have been dead for many years. The statue was built to commemorate them. What's wrong? Can't we build statues while we're still alive? It makes sense. Anyway, although Uchiha Kagami is so powerful, I always feel that there is something missing from these two. Is it because he didn't die? Damn it, that makes sense. Shush, shut up, be careful not to be overheard. But I really think I can build a statue while I'm alive. You know, Uchiha Kagami single-handedly defeated the 5 cages, and the ninja world was peaceful again. This kind of achievement is fully qualified to build a statue. Public opinion in the ninja world continues to ferment. And because of the battle between Uchiha Kagami and the 5 cages. As a result, the Kingdom of Grass was almost pushed aside, and Rain Shinobi Village took the opportunity to send out the Akatsuki organization and incorporated the Grass Shinobi Village into a righteous organization. So far, Rain Shinobi Village's expanded territory. The buffer zone between the 5 great ninja villages has become completely monolithic. Konoha Village. A celebration banquet was held that afternoon. It just so happened that this day was also Uchiha Kagami's birthday, so he decided to hold it together. This time there were many more than last time, plus all the Jonin from Konoha, everyone from the Root organization, the intelligence department and the medical department. Altogether, there were almost hundreds of people. Certainly, there are only 13 people who can actually sit at the same table as Uchiha Kagami. The older generation are the 4 members of the second Hokage escort team, Sarutobi Hiruzen, Udadane Kaharu, Midokado Homura, and Akamichi Takafeng. Followed by Konoha Sanin, Orochimaru, Jiraiya, Tsunade. And the young Jonin, of course it's the now loved Namikaze Minato. As the only direct disciple of Uchiha Kagami, and with the blessing of 4th Hokage, Minato's current status can be said to be at its peak. As for the Uchiha clan, the only one who can sit at the same table as Kagami is Fugaku, the deputy clan leader. The remaining ones are the heads of the 3 major clans of Konoha, namely Hyuga Heishi, Yamanaka Haichi, and Nara Shikaku. And Uchiha Kagami is the protagonist. Until today, he has completely become a power and status in Konoha that even the Hokage cannot shake, and he is admired and respected by everyone. After all, except for the older generation, Uchiha Kagami is 39 years old this year, only 1 year shy of 40. In addition to the main table, there are also Jonin tables, children's tables, family tables, etc. Originally, his courtyard was not enough, but Fugaku directly expanded the clan leader's courtyard, and it could still accommodate a mere 100 people. Advertisement on the huge round table. Uchiha Kagami raised his glass and said with emotion, "The war is over. We in Konoha have lost almost no losses except for part of the Impure World reincarnation troops, including the middle and lower level ninjas. Konoha did not decline because of the war, on the contrary, the village became stronger. Minato single-handedly defeated all the major ninja villages. My village has made penultimate contributions, but my disciple is still young after all. He has just taken up the post of 4th Hokage. I hope you can do your best to help him. Thank you all. This is what we should do. You don't have to worry, Mr. 4th Hokage is very good, and we will do our best to assist him. But your military exploits are obvious to all. If you hadn't defeated the 5 shadows, this battlefield would never have ended so quickly." The heads of the major clans sincerely praised him. Including Jiraiya also stood up. He seemed to have drunk a lot, and said with a flush on his face, "Mirror, no need to say more, my choice at the beginning was not wrong. You will bring peace to the ninja world. I have read all the opinions of the people in the ninja world, and I think you are fully qualified to build a statue, just like 1st Hokage and Uchiha Madara." "I don't think so, big pervert," Tsunade muttered. "Building a statue? It's a good choice," Orochimaru said hoarsely. Uchiha Kagami shook his head and laughed. "We will discuss this later. Now we have just ended the war. Although the upper-level ninjas have not lost much, there are still a lot of financial losses. The statue is too expensive, so there is no rush for the time being." "Okay, let's put it on hold for now," everyone agreed. Since Jing said it won't work for the time being, it won't work for the time being. Even if someone disagrees in their heart, they won't say much. "But thank you for your suggestions. The statue can not only enhance my prestige, but also inspire young ninjas in Konoha and promote my reputation in Konoha. It kills 2 birds with 1 stone. This plan is feasible." "Okay, the rest is in the wine, I'll do it, you can do whatever you want." Uchiha Kagami raised his glass. The main table includes everyone at the other tables. They all drank it down in one go, and then it became very casual and not that much polite. Orochimaru, as the 3rd Hokage, sat on the right-hand side of the mirror, while Minato sat on the left-hand side of the mirror. The former was drinking wine and eating side dishes, not to mention how happy he was. Uchiha Kagami slapped his shoulder and said with a smile, "Orochimaru, don't you regret not being a Hokage? You are only 1 year younger than me, and you can still be a Hokage for 10 or 20 years. I don't want to. Being a Hokage is too tiring. If I stay as a Hokage for another 20 years, I will definitely be bald. I can't ruin my hair. It's more interesting to do scientific research. Orochimaru shrugged. Well, I already knew you wouldn't last more than a few years. You expected that? Certainly. Uchiha Kagami asked, since you are no longer Hokage, you have to do me a favor. There is still a charm on Obito's heart. I need you to help him remove the charm. Do you have any idea? I have checked it before, this spell is not simple. Orochimaru narrowed his eyes and said hoarsely, he cannot destroy it himself, nor can he commit suicide. He can only use external force. Or directly destroy the heart and grow a heart with Hashirama cells to replace his original heart. But the technical difficulty is a bit high. After all, it's the heart. Give me some time. No problem. Is there anything else? Also, it's just a small thing. Uchiha Kagami thought for a while and said, I want to go to Shigu Forest and learn some celestial arts, but there is no way. As Katsuyu's contractor, Tsunade should be able to bring me in. You and Tsunade have a good relationship. Please ask me if it's okay. Why don't you say it yourself? With your current position as the voice of authority in Konoha, Tsunade has no reason to refuse you. Orochimaru was surprised. I know, but... Uchiha Kagami said awkwardly. I looked for her last time and went to her house, but I accidentally saw her taking a shower. Tsunade was so angry that she almost toppled the house. I'm probably very angry right now. I can't say anything. I can only rely on you, brother. Circle.operator. Orochimaru pondered. Then I'm afraid I can't help you. Chapter 98 Tsunade. Haha, why did you lose the flying dragon rider? Advertisement. You know Tsunade's temper. If I go over there to plead for mercy for you, she will definitely beat me to death. Orochimaru admitted. Are you afraid of something stupid? Uchiha Kagami narrowed his eyes and said, don't think I don't know. Your body is almost filled with Hashirama cells, and your strength must be much stronger than Tsunade. Are you afraid of her? You have good eyesight, but it doesn't matter whether you are strong or not. What's important is that you can't mess with an angry woman. I still understand this. Orochimaru looked back with memories. When I was young, in order to chase Tsunade, Jiraiya asked me to cooperate with him in a heroic rescue. But I was beaten to a pulp by Tsunade. Now that I think about it, how could I have agreed to Jiraiya and do such a stupid thing? Uchiha Kagami looked at him. I couldn't help but sigh in my heart. Orochimaru was really different. The difference from the original work is that he only experienced the death of the sacred tree, while Kato Dan originally fought with Iwagakure and was accidentally ambushed and died. But due to the Second Ninja War, Uchiha Kagami and Senju Tobirama teamed up to defeat Onoki and Third Hokage, causing Iwagakure to surrender early, so Kato Dan did not die. Orochimaru at this stage, although his personality is still a bit cold, he is cold on the outside and warm on the inside. He still has a bond with the two friends Tsunade and Jiraiya, which is one of his purposes in helping him become the Third Hokage. During the Third Ninja War, Orochimaru and Minato were both Hokage candidates. But no matter what, the exposure of human experiments led to his defection. He actually had a lot of ups and downs along the way, but fortunately nothing happened. Orochimaru couldn't help feeling a chill when he saw Jing's soft eyes. No, Jing. You don't have any special hobbies, right? Let me tell you, I am a very clean person and I'm willing to dedicate my life to science. You can't even think of it, You idiot, don't make such an ethical joke with me. Uchiha Kagami rolled her eyes at him. I like women, okay. The more beautiful they are, the more I like them. Then why don't you find another one? Orochimaru asked curiously. You haven't thought about it at all after so many years? Although you are not young anymore, you can definitely find someone in your 20s. Do you want me to introduce you to him? There are many outstanding girls from the Nara, Akamichi, and Yamanaka clans. When I was the Third Hokage, they even tried to introduce them to me. Old cow eating young grass. Forget it. Uchiha Kagami shook his head. He accidentally glanced at Tsunade diagonally opposite. Wearing gray shorts on the lower body and a loose green robe on the upper body. She boldly stepped on the stool next to her with one foot, exposing her long and white thighs, while drinking heavily with the people around her. Of course this is not the point. The key point is that the pair on the chest are so spectacular. Tsunade seemed to notice his gaze, turned his head and looked over, and immediately pouted and said, HMPH. You men have such a bad ability to drink. You got drunk after just 4 or 5 drinks. None of you can drink more than me. I'll do it. Tsunade. I can do it. Shut up, you drank and vomited once, so stop showing off. Jiraiya raised his hand drowsily, but he was pushed down by his little friend, muttering something in his mouth. Tsunade stood up directly, stepped on the stool with her white high heels, and her eyes were full of provocation. Mirror. Do you dare to come and have a few drinks with me? It doesn't matter. If you can't drink, just say you can't drink. You men always not good at this, haha. Okay, just come. Uchiha Kagami agreed. He couldn't help but feel funny in his heart. Tsunade was planning to make him drunk. I wanted to take revenge on him by spying on her taking a bath before, but little did he know that the wine in this world is all sake, which is far inferior to those real spirits. Want to make him drunk and make a fool of himself? Then let's see. Who will be drunk by then? Advertisement. Uchiha Kagami waved his hand and said boldly, what's the point of just drinking? Shisui, put on the dice cup, today. I want to get drunk with Tsunade. Okay, Grandpa. Shisui walked out from Jonan's desk. He walked into the house and took out 2 pairs of dice cups and handed them to them. Tsunade and Kagami each held a pair of dice cups, and their eyes looked at each other with a sense of confrontation, but everyone around them was watching the fun. Tsunade vowed. You dare to play dice with me? Mirror, do you know I have a nickname? What nickname? Jing asked with a smile. Konoha's little gambling king. Oh, then who is the big gambling king? Of course it's my grandfather, Senju Hashirama. The two of us are called the twin kings of Konoha. Okay, let me see it today. Uchiha Kagami took a precaution in advance. I promised you in advance, if you lose too much, don't be impatient. Whoever is anxious is stupid. Tsunade rolled up his sleeves. Since it's your first time to play, let's make it simple and compare the big and small, 3 dice, only the big and small, whoever adds up to the higher 3 dice wins. The loser gets a drink, and the winner doesn't. Drink. Are you sure? What if you keep losing? Jing looked strange. Am I going to lose? I'm Konoha's little gambling king? Tsunade is very confident. The two immediately started shaking the dice cup. After a few shakes, they both opened the cups at the same time. Tsunade scored 123 points and the mirror 234. I was defeated by you in a small game, come again. Good, I'm at 9, I'm at 10, you drink. Come again, I'm at 11, I'll definitely win this time. Sorry, I'm just a little older than you, drink. Come again. Tsunade does not believe in evil. I tried the dice cup again and again, but lost every time. Drinking one glass after another, even though the alcohol content of the sake was low, my face turned red after drinking too much. Mirror. Did you cheat? I don't. You must have cheated, otherwise why didn't I win once? Maybe you're just out of luck. Uchiha Kagami is holding back a laugh. Why can't you win? Don't you have any idea? Every time he bets, he loses, just like Senju Hashirama. The only time he won was with Jiraiya. Result. Jiraiya failed to come back. Death at the hands of pain. At that moment you wished you had lost. Mirror planned to stop there but Tsunade was unwilling until Tsunade shook it again, peeked at the dice inside, and suddenly became excited. Ha ha ha. Tsunade opened the dice cup, looked up to the sky and laughed. 3 sixes, leopard, 18 points. The highest point, how can you beat me? Mirror, this time, Tsunade, will bet everything with you. The loser drinks up the table all the wine served. You sure? Uchiha Kagami coughed a few times. Tsunade, why don't you leave yourself some way out? Why do you want to stay? How can Fei Longqi lose? Tsunade waved his hand, his face full of confidence. Are you scared? Quick, open the dice cup. I don't believe you can beat me like this. Chapter 99 Cursed Necklace. Uchiha Kagami was scared for the first time. Advertisement, all right. Uchiha Kagami opened the dice cup. There are 3 dice inside, all 3 sixes, but one of the dice was missing one side, and it was placed next to it and it was clearly 1, which was just a little bigger than Tsunade. Uchiha Kagami shrugged his shoulders. Sorry, I'm 19, so I still win. What? Tsunade's eyes widened immediately, and he was furious. You actually shattered a dice surface with brute force? Forcibly adding a little more? You still said you didn't cheat? Where's the cheating? You didn't say you couldn't use brute force at the beginning, right? You can definitely shake me. Who can stop me? Uchiha Kagami blinked. Tsunade, you are a Konoha Sanin. You are not going to cheat, are you? I know how, Jing. Just wait, I will definitely beat you next time. Tsunade's silver teeth were almost broken, but with her character, she really can't say anything shameless. So he immediately gathered 10 bottles of sake on the table and started blowing one bottle after another. After drinking 3 bottles in a row, his face turned red. He burped several times and started to stagger. Okay, Tsunade, stop drinking. If you drink any more you'll get drunk. I'm not drunk. Let me drink, I'm telling the truth, but I'm not like someone who just cheats. Uchiha Kagami walked over and stopped her, but Tsunade opened it and insisted on drinking the rest. The scene became a bit chaotic. Everyone present felt that the two people seemed to have a bad temper and one wanted to confront the other. But Konoha Sanin's status is too high, few people dared to persuade him, let alone a big shot like Jing. Okay, I'll do the rest. Uchiha Kagami pulled her behind her. I drank the remaining 7 bottles in a row, my face still unchanged, but I had a hiccup after drinking too fast. Tsunade looked at him, pouting unappreciatively. Who asked you to drink it? This is mine, if I lose, it's mine. Okay, it's yours. If you win next time, the wine will offset it, Jing reassured. HMPH, okay. I will definitely beat you next time. I seem to be a little dizzy. Tsunade was shaking, with tears in his eyes. Why are there so many pieces of wood here? Is that my grandfather? Grandpa, little Tsunade, I miss you. Woo-woo. Okay, I'll take you home. Uchiha Kagami helped Tsunade away. Before leaving, he glanced at Shisui and Fugaku. The two understand each other. Fugaku represents the face of the family, and Shisui wants to apologize on behalf of his grandfather and those around him. Although no one cares, but you still need to do surface engineering, otherwise it would be rude. On the other hand, Uchiha Kagami took Tsunade back to her home, held her on the bed, and looked at her face up and down. The skin is white and tender, and can be broken by blowing. She was obviously 1 year younger than him, but she still looked like an 18-year-old girl. Her large breasts were rising and falling, making people look at her. At this time, Tsunade blushed and blinked her beautiful eyes. Is it big? Big, huh? Are you not drunk? Jing was stunned for a moment. You don't know whether I'm drunk or not, just like the last time you peeked at me taking a bath, you obviously saw it, but you insisted that you didn't see it. Tsunade curled his lips. The fog when you were taking a bath was too foggy. I really didn't see much, but I saw a little bit. Just a little bit. I didn't mean it. Uchiha Kagami admitted that he was in the wrong. Is it okay if it wasn't intentional? You have to be responsible. Tsunade pursed his lips. What? You think I'm not good enough for you? Advertisement, no, of course you are worthy. You are my eldest brother's granddaughter. If we become one, wouldn't the seniority be messed up? It's just chaos, I don't care anyway, who let you look at my body, huh? Quote. Uchiha Kagami is a bit messy. What originally worried him was his relationship with Kato Dan. As a result, after Tsunade's explanation, although Kato Dan was still alive, due to the second Hokage who was in power at the time. Although there were several Jonin meetings at that time. But it was the time after the death of the sacred tree that Kato Dan agreed to Tsunade's proposal to join the medical ninja, and the two fell in love. That time happened to be the time when Kagami pretended to learn the spiritualization technique. Kato Dan did not attend the Jonin meeting, so he missed this opportunity. There was no emotional connection between the two. The reason why Tsunade has a good impression of him is because not long after the Third Ninja War ended, he resurrected Naoki with Impure World reincarnation. Certainly, it's more because of his personal charm. After all, Kage is now a living legend in the ninja world, a strong man comparable to Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama, and women always admire the strong. Tsunade was no exception, but she didn't dare say that. But a few days ago, Jing accidentally peeked at her taking a shower, which made her aware of this opportunity. Seeing him stunned and silent, Tsunade suddenly felt aggrieved. Mirror, don't like me? Of course I do. Uchiha Kagami did not deny it. Let me ask, who can resist the charm of Tsunade? You can't be picky about your figure alone. I've always asked you if you were attracted to me at the age of 18? Then what do you like about me? Please tell me in detail. Tsunade's eyes were charming. Your figure, honest, then I'll reward you. Tsunade's eyes were as charming as silk and she held him in her arms. Uchiha Kagami's vision suddenly went dark, and he was fascinated by the magnificent waves on his chest. At first, Jing looked like he was enjoying it, but he felt that the air was getting thinner and he was almost suffocating. Okay, enough is enough, it's too tight. Tsunade let him go. His eyes were full of admiration and love. Uchiha Kagami scratched his head and asked, then let me ask you too, what do you like about me? Do I think you like me too hastily? That's too much. You're a good drinker. You're much better than those thin dogs. You are so strong. I admired my grandfather the most when I was a child. You are no less than him now. Of course I like you. And you are kind to people and take good care of the village. Although some teachers have some opinions on you, especially after Danzo died. But I know very well that you are doing it for the good of Konoha. There is no future for the village if it is left to them. And you had a wife before, but you haven't married again for so many years, which proves that you are consistent in your feelings. This is what I care about most. There are too many advantages to count. Why should I not like you? Then I'm really good. Uchiha Kagami blushed. If anyone praised him, he wouldn't believe it. But for such a big and beautiful fairy to praise him, he felt that these were facts. The two just stared at each other. Tsunade's face became increasingly red, and he came over with charming eyes and kissed the mirror between his eyebrows. It left a red lip mark. Tsunade didn't think much and blinked her beautiful eyes. Mirror, I want to give you the necklace my grandfather left me. It can be regarded as a token of love between the two of us. Is that okay? What? Cursed necklace. Well, Uchiha Kagami was frightened. Why don't you keep such a valuable thing for yourself? Chapter 100 Holy Land Shigu Forest, The Secrets of the Three Great Immortals. Advertisement, huh? Mirror, what do you mean? Tsunade was a little angry. What's wrong with the preciousness? It's just because it's precious that you give it to the one you love. I only gave it to Nawaki, the necklace my grandfather left me. Are you going to reject my offer now? Well, have you ever thought? You gave Nawaki a necklace, and Nawaki died not long ago. Is there an invisible curse on the necklace? Uchiha Kagami asked cautiously. That was just an accident. Okay, sure enough, you just don't want to, woohoo. Tsunade pouted and felt aggrieved, almost crying. Uchiha Kagami is very helpless. This necklace, I really don't want to wear it. It's hard to say whether the necklace your grandfather left behind was an accident. The original book you gave to Nawaki died not long after. It was given to Kato Dan. Kato Dan died, and it was given to Naruto. Naruto didn't die. But it almost died quickly. Naruto would have died if Nine Tails hadn't gone berserk and crushed the necklace. Besides, Naruto is the protagonist, and he can't be cursed to death no matter what, and although he is extremely powerful now, he is also taboo about such things. Besides, are you strong now? That is, except for Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama, he is considered the number one in the ninja world. But in the later stage, this strength is not enough. At least you have to be at the Six Paths level to be able to ignore it. With the current mortal body, what if it really comes true? After thinking for a long time, Uchiha Kagami considered it and said, Don't cry, Tsunade. Let's do this. You take me to Shigu Forest to find Katsuyu Sage. When I master the magic of Shigu Forest, I will wear this necklace. So, you are with me just for the magic of Shigulan? Tsunade said in a bad tone. No. How did you? Okay, then I'll take you there. Tsunade blinked her beautiful eyes. It's not like he's too temperamental, after all. Jing is also someone who wants to show off his face. After all, he is a well-known figure in Konoha. We just got together and we can't be too presumptuous. We can't bully him like Jiraiya. How to get there? Where is Shigu Forest? Uchiha Kagami asked curiously. I don't know the specific location. Anyway, let's just use the reverse summoning technique, but after all, I want to take outsiders there, so it's better to be safe. Tsunade thought for a moment and said, I'll summon a Katsuyu split body first and notify Katsuyu Sage, otherwise you won't be able to get in. Good. Tsunade nodded. The two walked out, summoning out a huge Katsuyu. After a little explanation, there was basically no problem. After Katsuyu disappeared, Tsunade performed the reverse summoning technique. Poof. The two of them disappeared on the spot. The next second, the two people appeared in the wet bone forest. Advertisement: there are all extremely tall woods here, each big tree is tens or even hundreds of meters tall, and the air here is full of moisture. Is this the marsh bone forest? Uchiha Kagami felt very novel. You must know that each of the three holy places has its own characteristics. Mount Myoboku is like a fairyland on earth. Ryuchi Cave is in a cave, and the darkness is chilling. There were only trees here, and each tree was tall, long and thick, but the strange thing was that he thought it would be covered with human bones. But instead of, it's actually very clean, and what comes into view is, it's a gigantic Katsuyu. He couldn't describe her size, but the tailed beast was just a bigger cat in front of him. Uchiha Kagami sighed. FK. It's so big. The huge Katsuyu Sage made a soft female voice. You two are here. My split body has told me in advance. I didn't expect. As a new legend of the ninja world, you actually came to me. Have you heard of me? Jing asked curiously. Tsunade has mentioned it more than once. She likes you very much, but you seem to be curious. Why is it called Shigu Forest when there are no bones here? Katsuyu Sage said gently. Why? Because I have no bones. I am a soft-bodied creature. There are many very tall trees here. Due to my body. The air here is very humid, so it is called Shimobone Forest. Katsuyu Sage explained. Well, I understand. What is missing is what it is. Uchiha Kagami said patiently. But before I learn Senjutsu, can you explain to me the differences in Senjutsu? Ryuchi Cave, Mount Myoboku, and Shigu Forest are all three sacred places. The characteristics of Senjutsu should be different, right? Yes, as long as you learn Senjutsu, your ninja, body, and illusion will be greatly improved. Senjutsu is a combination of physical energy, spiritual energy, and natural energy, but each has its own focus. Katsuyu Sage said slowly. The first is the Senjutsu of Mount Myoboku. You should have heard that little guy from Jiraiya mention it. Their Senjutsu is called Free Senjutsu, and it focuses more on the perception and manipulation of natural energy. Among the three great magic arts, the perception ability is particularly outstanding, and the ability to use natural energy very skillfully, such as invisible attacks. The disadvantage is that it requires a certain amount of time to meditate, the duration is not long, and it has frog eyes. The immortal technique of Shigu Forest, also known as Ultimate Immortal Technique, focuses more on the increase of spiritual energy and can greatly increase mental ability. The Sharingan of your Uchiha clan is the external manifestation of spiritual energy. In fact, learning Shigu Lin's magic is the most suitable. But, since Kokushinjutsu requires a peaceful mind to learn, and not an anxious mind like Shisui, the Uchiha clan has extremely extreme personalities, so it has become one of the biggest problems in learning. Uchiha Kagami raised his eyebrows slightly. Ultimate Senjutsu. It focuses more on spiritual energy. It seems that if you cast illusions and other types of magic, it will be greatly improved? That's true, but it's more than that. The magical skills of Shigulin can greatly improve the spiritual level, and you can always stay calm in battle. Not panic when encountering chaos. This is the so-called ultimate intention. Katsuyu Sage said. But to cast Ultimate Senjutsu requires longer meditation, but the duration will be very long, far better than Mount Myoboku's Senjutsu. What about Ryuchi Cave's Senjutsu? Kaoru asked. Ryuchi Cave's Senjutsu, also known as Domineering Senjutsu. Senjutsu is famous for its violent and domineering effects, and the most obvious increase is in the physical body. The meditation time is very short, and the maintenance time is average, but it is stronger than Mount Myoboku, but only on the head it has horns and its eyes have snake pupils. Katsuyu Sage explained. However, Mount Myoboku's celestial art is based on fate, and my Shigu Forest is about 1 drink and 1 peck. Only people who are close and trustworthy can teach celestial arts. Only Ryuchi Cave allows outsiders to learn celestial arts. We welcome everyone who comes. As long as you pass the 3 major tests, you can obtain immortal skills. White Snake Sennin will inject natural energy with his teeth. Once he can't bear it anymore, he will transform into a snake and be eaten directly by the snakes in Ryuchi Cave. Only those who desperately pursue power at all costs should go to Ryuchi Cave. Chapter 101 The Source of Hashirama's Magic, the Domineering Magic of Freedom. Advertisement, I see. Uchiha Kagami suddenly understood. After listening to Katsuyu Sage's explanation, he understood the secret of Senjutsu. Although the 3 major Senjutsu are all Senjutsu, they obviously have their own advantages and disadvantages. Mount Myoboku's Free Senjutsu is relatively the safest, except that learning Senjutsu will transform you into a frog and turn into a stone statue. Basically, it is the most suitable for ordinary people. The only disadvantage is that it requires meditation, and the duration is not long. For example, if Naruto meditates for 5 minutes, the magic will dissipate if used too much. But Naruto is also a genius. The meditation time is actually not a big disadvantage, because he can use the clone to stay in Mount Myoboku to gather the Senjutsu chakra. As long as he summons the clone through reverse summoning, and then releases it, the Senjutsu will be restored again. Have to say, this guy's intelligence is impressive, and he deserves to be the protagonist. Anyone can go to Ryuchi Cave, but it's hard to say whether they can survive. The risk is too great. Except for those desperate people like Kabuto, there is no other way to learn Senjutsu. They can only bite the bullet, but Kabuto, the lucky guy, succeeded. Moreover, his magical properties are also known as violent and domineering, with horns and snake eyes growing on his head. It's just that Shigulin's ultimate immortal technique seems to take longer to meditate, but the advantage is that it also lasts a long time. As for meditation time, you can use Naruto's method to solve it. Then, GE immortal technique will also have obvious characteristics? Jing asked. Yes, but not big. Katsuyu Sage explained. Ryuchi Cave is directly injected from the teeth of White Snake Sage, so Sage Mode has more external characteristics. Mount Myoboku requires slow practice and is relatively gentle. So there is only the outward characteristic of frog eyes, and the Shigu forest needs to be soaked in my fairy pond and slowly meditated and comprehended. The outward characteristic of Sage Mode is that the body will become softer. Oh, that's acceptable. Uchiha Kagami thought for a while, but suddenly remembered something. Isn't it right? Then why did my second brother mention to me that Senju Hashirama learned the Sage Mode of the Shigu forest, but his body did not become soft? Hashirama's Sage Mode is not from Shigulin, Katsuyu Sage said. Ah, Uchiha Kagami was stunned. Katsuyu Sage's eyes were full of reminiscence, and his eyes were full of admiration. Hashirama was born as a sage body. He can absorb natural energy all the time, but he was worried that he could not use it. He also came to Shigu Forest at that time and wanted to learn Shigu Lin's extreme immortal technique. But after listening to my explanation, he felt that neither Mount Myoboku's free Senjutsu, Shigulin's ultimate Senjutsu, or Ryuchi Cave's domineering Senjutsu were the most perfect Senjutsu. So he took the essence and discarded the dross on the basis of the 3 major immortal arts, combined the advantages of the 3 major immortal arts, and realized his own unique magical technique, which is the immortal art of self-extreme dominance and domination. The abbreviation is Infinite Immortal Technique. The Sage Mode after Hashirama's realization has almost no shortcomings. The meditation time is extremely short, the maintenance time is long, there are no obvious characteristics, and it can greatly increase the physical, mental, and natural effects. FK. Is this the truth about Senju Hashirama's magic? Uchiha Kagami's eyes widened. The whole person's mouth was open, and he was simply stunned. He originally thought that Hashirama was already awesome enough, and that the celestial skills were obtained from the Shigu forest. After all, his granddaughter was Katsuyu's contractor, so this possibility was extremely high. Advertisement, but he didn't expect Hashirama to be even more awesome than he imagined. He actually directly combined the 3 major immortal arts and created a more perfect immortal arts, freedom and overbearing immortal arts. Good guy. No wonder the eldest brother is so awesome at magic. Just use Sage Art True several thousand hands to pinch 9 tails like a cat. Now think about it. Indeed, if Hashirama learned his Senjutsu from the Shigen forest, then there is no reason why he is not Katsuyu's contractor, but why didn't Katsuyu be summoned during the 4th Ninja War? Both Tsunade and Sakura can summon 1/10 of Katsuyu. With the strength of Senju Hashirama, he is fully qualified to be Katsuyu's true form, so that's not necessarily impossible, right? Directly covering the entire battlefield with Katsuyu's body, the healing effect is much better than Tsunade and little Sakura. Now it seems that he does not have a contract with Katsuyu. Etc. Another point. That's Hashirama's 4th Ninja War, why not use True several thousand hands? Just use Wooden Golem and Wooden Dragon to fight Uchiha Madara, not that he doesn't want to, but in Pure World Reincarnation's Hashirama is not in its prime, including Senjutsu is incomplete. Madara later absorbed Hashirama's Senjutsu, thinking it was nothing more than that. In fact, it is just magic in a mutilated state, and only the full state of free ultimate domineering immortal art can display the heaven-destroying and earth-destroying, Sage Art True several thousand hands top Buddha transformation. Thinking about it this way, it completely explains it. Katsuyu Sage couldn't help but sigh. This is Senju Hashirama. He easily learned ultimate Senjutsu in the Shigu forest, and then went to Mount Myoboku and Ryuchi Cave to learn free Senjutsu and hegemony Senjutsu. It didn't take long before I continued to develop the 3 major Senjutsu and realized the almost flawless freedom and dominance Senjutsu throughout the ninja world for so many years. Only Hashirama can do it. That's why I respect Hashirama so much, and so does Tsunade. Understood. Uchiha Kagami's eyes narrowed slightly as he said, in other words, if I want to learn the freedom and dominance, I must first learn all 3 major Senjutsu, right? Of course, since you want to understand a brand new magic, if you don't learn the 3 major magics, how will you know where the dross is and where the essence is? Katsuyu Sage seemed to see through his ambition, and gently warned, but you have to understand. The necessary condition for learning Senjutsu is the amount of chakra. Without sufficient chakra, you cannot learn Senjutsu. You have a lot of chakra. It's not as extreme as the Uchiha clan, so it's not very difficult to learn the 3 major Senjutsu. However, if you want to understand the freedom and dominance senjutsu, you have to have a major prerequisite, which is unavoidable. Oh, I seem to have thought that the prerequisite is the body of an immortal, right? Uchiha Kagami said firmly, although I don't know how Hashirama understood it. In order to turn on sage mode instantly, it must be absorbed through the sage body every moment, so that the natural energy can fill itself but not overflow. This allows the body, spirit, and natural energy to reach a balanced state, and then the three energies are instantly combined with a clap of hands. It's like a key, opening the door to magic at any time. P.S. 3 major senjutsu and Hashirama senjutsu. They are all the author's second thoughts, but the advantages and disadvantages of the 3 great magical arts are not second thoughts. ZZGE Domineering Immortal Technique. The name was inspired by a certain Dragon Ball, with the word domineering added. It is called Infinite Immortal Technique. For short, it's pretty cool. Oh. Chapter 102. A serious scientist. No, it's a pervert scientist. Advertisement. Yes, you are very smart. Katsuyu Sage praised. No, thank you Katsuyu Sage for your guidance, otherwise I would have gone astray. At first, I thought Hashirama's magic was really learned in the Shigu Forest. Uchiha Kagami is grateful from the bottom of her heart. If it weren't for Katsuyu Sage, he would have fallen into a misunderstanding long ago. You are very good. You are very different from the other Uchiha clan. Although your body is full of Hashirama cells, you are not the body of a sage. You need to solve this problem. Katsuyu Sage let out a gentle laugh. Only can you understand the true, freedom and overbearing immortal technique, but there is no rush now. Before that, you must first learn the extreme intent immortal technique, and stay in the Shigibone forest for a few months first. Uchiha Kagami looked curious. How many months will it take? Is Kyoku Shinjutsu very difficult to learn? What is the specific learning method? It's not difficult, and the method is very simple. Just stay in the fairy pond of my Shigibone forest, meditate quietly, and absorb the natural energy. That's not bad. Uchiha Kagami nodded. Then I saw a huge pool. It was almost several hundred meters high, more than 10 meters high, and was filled with white mucus. It looks a bit like the color on Katsuyu, but the concentration is more viscous. Uchiha Kagami kept muttering in her heart. Could it be Katsuyu Sage's excrement? Isn't such a big pool really amazing? Seeming to see the doubts in the mirror, Katsuyu Senin said angrily. This is not excrement. You, like Senju Hashirama, had doubts at first, but this is all the purifying fairy liquid secreted from my body. Compared to Mount Myoboku and Ryuchi Cave, it's very low risk. Just soak in the pool and start meditating. Understood. Uchiha Kagami doesn't talk nonsense either. With the help of Katsuyu Immortal, he walked into the fairy pond. The body began to sink slowly, and the whole person was just submerged in the body, with only the head exposed. Because these fairy liquids are very thick, there is no possibility of sinking and suffocating, let alone with Tsunade watching over him. He closed his eyes and began to sense the natural energy. Tisk, tisk, almost instantly, he felt it. Then he began to absorb the natural energy tirelessly. The intensity of the natural energy in this fairy pool was beyond all others. Not long after, Uchiha Kagami's eyes around. Light blue lines appeared, like facial makeup. The lines became clearer and clearer, and it didn't take long for them to be completely formed. That afternoon, he completed and learned the ultimate immortal technique. It seems to have been successful. Uchiha Kagami felt it up and down. It was discovered that Ji Senjutsu greatly enhances ninjutsu, genjutsu, and taijutsu. But relatively speaking, illusions based on spiritual energy are particularly prominent, but relatively speaking, the other two aspects also have a large increase, but not as much as illusions. Success so quickly? Katsuyu Senin was shocked. How's that? Compared to my big brother, oh yeah, that's Senju Hashirama, he's my big brother. You are even more amazing. Originally I thought your mind was like Shisui, so it would be easier to learn, but it would take at least several months, but I didn't expect. Your perception is also very strong. My soul seems to be very different from others, so I learned it quickly. Katsuyu Senin replied conservatively, but I was extremely shocked inside. This kid is so awesome. Senju Hashirama also took more than 10 days to complete. He thought that as a descendant of the Uchiha clan, it would be impossible to surpass his ancestors. Advertisement. Who would have thought? This young man actually completed his cultivation in 1 day. And it wasn't just 1 day, to be exact, it was less than 6 hours, and the speed of knowledge was astonishingly fast. Where are you going next? Mount Myoboku. Katsuyu Sage suggested. Hashirama came to Shigan Forest, and then went to Mount Myoboku, and then found Ryuchi Cave and learned the 3 great senjutsu. While Ryuchi Cave's domineering senjutsu is very violent, relatively speaking, ultimate senjutsu and free senjutsu are not that dangerous. And the White Snake Sage in Ryuchi Cave has a bad temper. I suggest you go to Mount Myoboku first and then go to Ryuchi Cave. No, let's go to Ryuchi Cave first. Uchiha Kagami shook his head. The reason why I chose this is because the location of Ryuchi Cave is easy to find. It seems to be at the entrance cave of a certain temple. Of course, there is another reason for doing this, that is, there is a person above Ryuchi Cave who he must bring back to Konoha as soon as possible. That person is Jugo. He is currently his only way to obtain a sage body. Zhongwu was born with the ability to absorb natural energy, but he could not control his frequent rages, thus forming 2 personalities. He can even talk to animals. This natural affinity can be called another pseudo-sage body. As for why it's called a pseudo-sage body, it's because Jugo can't control himself and often goes berserk, and it's very easy to develop a murderous character. Therefore, relatively speaking, it is definitely not comparable to Senju Hashirama. After all, Senju Hashirama is the reincarnation of Ashura. Although he can absorb natural energy all the time, he can control it in comparison. At least before he had mastered Senjutsu, Hashirama would not go berserk if he wanted to. It's not what Jugo can compare to, but it's more than enough for him at this stage. After bringing it back, Orochimaru will study it carefully. As for why not use Hashirama cells, Hashirama is dead, but the cells are still active and have strong vitality. However, since it has cooled down and no longer has the ability to absorb natural energy, it is impossible to obtain Sage Body by relying solely on Hashirama cells. There was also a young girl standing respectfully. Master Jing, you are here. The teacher is conducting experiments and cannot greet you, please forgive me. At least it can't be shown on the surface. As soon as Uchiha Kagami stepped in, he saw a man with long hair and was working seriously. Uchiha Kagami bids farewell to Katsuyu Sennin. Unless Hashirama is resurrected, but that's not possible yet. And when I see someone coming, and not far away. The girl stood up hurriedly, feeling confused and cute. There are also mesh cloth covers on the elbows, and the lower body is also mesh shorts, which looks very cute. I know, I just wait. Then he walked into the underground laboratory of Konoha, where all the people from the Root organization were responsible for guarding the secrets here. Uchiha Kagami looked her up and down, pretending to be angry. In such a dark laboratory, won't you catch a cold if you wear so little? Did the bad guy Orochimaru make you wear such cool clothes? Leaving the Shigu forest and returning to Konoha. I didn't expect this guy to look like a serious scientist. I didn't expect him to be a pervert in private. Later, do you want me to help you punish him? He looks about 10 years old and wears a mesh vest on his upper body. After all, if possible, let Orochimaru go with you. For the village, human experimentation is still very unethical. Chapter 103 Uchiha Kagami. Protect the diversity of human races. Advertisement. It's not the teacher's fault. I just had some blood drawn, so I didn't wear a coat. The girl pouted and retorted, but, thank you Master Jing. It's okay with me. Although it's dark here, I like to accompany the teacher to do experiments. Nice kid, what's your name? Jing asked gently. My name is Anko, Mitarashi Anko. It's you. It seems you are an excellent ninja. You want to be recognized by Konoha Sannin. Prove that your talents are excellent. Uchiha Kagami rubbed her hair. However, you should eat less desserts and sugar. If you become fat in the future, you will not be liked by others. I won't become fat. Anko puffed his lips. That's not necessarily the case. Uchiha Kagami chuckled, but he didn't say much, just casually. Anko was very cute when she was a child, and even as an adult she still looked heroic, but in the later stages she ate too many desserts and became fat. Note: Konoha is 51 years old and Anko is 11 years old, which is relatively young. After Orochimaru finished the experiment, he came over and said with a hoarse smile, Dear guest, you haven't been to my place for several months. But you are here this time? Of course I'm criticizing you. Look at you, you actually let a child wear something so cool. Do you have any pervert hobbies? Uchiha Kagami examined her. I'm not, I didn't, don't slander me. Orochimaru comes with 3 consecutive denials. Uchiha Kagami stopped joking and said in a serious tone, Are you interested in going out with me? I plan to practice celestial arts in the Ryuchi Cave of the 3 Holy Lands. No interest, I'm busy. Orochimaru refused. There is a tribe near Ryuchi Cave that can naturally absorb natural energy. I don't know the specific name. I will temporarily call it the Jugo clan. Uchiha Kagami said thoughtfully, but Jugo seems to be the most special one. Do you really not need such a special experimental subject? If not, I will find someone else. Goodbye. No, don't go. Orochimaru smiled. Experiment subjects and so on are not important. If a friend asks for something, I must help. As a scientist, I like to help others. I am very interested in going with you. Okay, let's leave now. Now? Yes, better sooner rather than later. Wait, let me tell Anko first. Some liquids cannot be left in the air, and some must be kept separately, don't. Gone. Uchiha Kagami held his shoulders. Forming a seal with one hand, Flying Thunder God disappeared instantly after activation. Soon, they came to the Kingdom of Stone. The place is full of dense rocks, completely different in style from other countries, and looks very desolate. Orochimaru was speechless for a moment. As you said, let me remind Anko to sort out the samples in the laboratory, right? Are you in such a hurry? Otherwise, Changwu's clan is staying in the cave, and Changwu seems to have confined himself in order to prevent him from going on a rampage and killing his clan members. Uchiha Kagami said seriously, but the natural energy here overflows from under the earth. It is obvious that Ryuchi Cave must be under the Jugo clan, but Jugo's actions will have no effect at all. Sooner or later, he will go berserk. Such a treasure of the ninja world will definitely attract the attention of the bad guys. How can we protect the treasure of the ninja world if it is exterminated? As good people, we have an obligation to ensure the diversity of the human race in the ninja world, right? Orochimaru couldn't help but sigh. As expected of you, I can think of such a bad excuse to protect the diversity of the human race. But you are not lying when you say that their clan will be targeted. Certainly, advertisement Uchiha Kagami is not talking nonsense. There is very little description of the Changwu family in the original work. However, the limited explanation shows that due to unknown reasons, the Jongwoo clan was exterminated and only Jongwoo was left as a survivor. To know, the entire Jugo clan is capable of sage transformation. It's just that they can't control it, they will either die from the rampage. They disowned each other and killed everyone in the clan, or they were targeted by bad guys, so they had to do it as soon as possible. And now it is Konoha's 51st year. In terms of age, Jugo was born. But it's only 3 years old, so the sooner it's done, the better. Although the location of Ryuchi Cave is unclear, since it is a cave, the geographical location of Tianokuni is very suitable. He is sure, 80% of the Chongwu clan is here. After Orochimaru heard this, he frowned and said, but Tien country is not that small. There are only 2 of us, how to find it? It's very simple, just feel the natural energy. Wherever there is more natural energy, there is Ryuchi Cave. Wherever there is Ryuchi Cave, there is the Jugo clan. Uchiha Kagami showed a confident look, then he sat cross-legged and began to absorb the natural energy. It didn't take long for him to discover that the source of natural energy was in the east direction, and it was very rich and exactly the same as the natural energy concentration of the Shigibone forest. Found it, Uchiha Kagami opened her eyes. Carrying Orochimaru again, he activated the Flying Thunder God technique. Swish! Hurry up, stop this little brat, it is also in a cave. Uchiha Kagami looked up and down at the temple, a lot of natural energy escapes from it. Kill, kill, they arrived at their destination. It was found that it was exactly the same as described in the original work. This is a huge temple, and the entrance to the temple seems to be a cave. However, the 2 did not choose to enter, instead, they started searching nearby and soon found their target. Uchiha Kagami's expression changed. Damn it, you're late. No, it should be just right, not many of the Jugo clan died. I saw an amazing scene. Kill all of you, ha 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 ha. Orochimaru covered his head and choked speechlessly. Can you tell me in advance when you take me flying next time? I feel like I'm going to vomit. Without any sense, he was covered in dark skin and had horns on his head, and he began to slaughter his own people. The entrance to the cave here is Ryuchi Cave, one of the 3 legendary holy places. I saw a 3-year-old child, no, a monster to be precise. Definitely next time. This was obviously caused by the Chongwu clan's inability to control natural energy. They had just walked into the cave and passed through the long tunnel. Chapter 104 Curse? No, they are all illiterate advertisement. Latent Shadow Snake Hand. Orochimaru raised his right hand. It turned into a python and bound Chongwu tightly. Jugo was still struggling, but he still couldn't stand it in front of Orochimaru, so he could only roar helplessly and furiously. Kill. I'm going to kill you. Jia Jia Jia. Only killing in this world can make me feel happy. Kill, kill. Orochimaru was speechless for a moment, curled his lips and glanced at the glasses. I'll kill you, mirror. You still can't deal with this little brat? No. Uchiha Kagami's eyes turned into 3 Magatama. Just a simple illusion, and the little kid Jugo fainted. Sharingan can easily control this out-of-control situation. The main reason why Jugo followed Sasuke in the original work is that he is the reincarnation of Kimimaro. But the secondary reason is that Sasuke can control it with Sharingan. To prevent the passive inhalation of natural energy from going out of control and killing people, the child Jongwoo is also a poor person, and he is usually a very warm child. He was rescued by Kimimaro and regarded Kimimaro as his spiritual support. But later Kimimaro became seriously ill and died, and regarded Sasuke as a spiritual support. Later, the 4th Ninja War seemed to take control of Sage Transformation. And it spreads with a curse seal, giving Sasuke's Susanna the magic damage. Uchiha Kagami looked at the remaining people around him. There were actually not many. Only about 20, one of whom had orange hair. He is tall and looks very similar to Jugo. He was probably only in his early 30s. This person walked over with a look full of gratitude. Thank you both for your help. Are you ninjas from Konoha? You are? What happened just now? Uchiha Kagami asked. I am Chongo's father, Shonhammer. Janami explained. Our clan has lived here since we were young, but we have been cursed. My clan doesn't know why, but we always go berserk from time to time, and we also hurt our relatives and partners. Is everyone like this? Uchiha Kagami asked curiously. Yes, but everyone's situation is different. Some people may lose control only once every 6 months, while others may lose control once every 1 or 2 months. And my child Jongwoo lost control very frequently after he was born. There were tears in Jongmei's eyes, and after this child loses control, his power is very huge. Even as a child, we are no match. My son locked himself in prison in order to prevent himself from hurting his own people. But it still doesn't work, almost got me killed today. Have you never thought about leaving here? Or living separately? Uchiha Kagami was puzzled. No, this is a curse on our clan. We must not leave or disperse. If our clan dies in cannibalism, then this will be the fate of our clan. The heavy hammer is very persistent, seems very firm. My clan became like this because it was cursed, and from the past to the present, all the clan leaders of their tribe thought it was a curse, so they chose to stand still. And in the original work, they actually don't know what is happening to their bodies. To put it simply, they are actually illiterate, so they are more willing to believe in the curse. When Orochimaru found Kimimaro, he conquered Jugo through Kimimaro, and through research, he understood some of the inside story. Uchiha Kagami sighed and said, First of all, this is not a curse, but because this place is very close to the Ryuchi Cave of the three holy places. The natural energy that Ryuchi Cave escapes from the ground caused you to lose control. Advertisement, and your family's physique is very special. Its origins can be traced back to the Sage of Six Paths. You can be called the blood descendants of the Sage of Six Paths. Therefore, you can absorb natural energy involuntarily, but natural energy is not so easy to tame. It takes a certain approach and training to do it, and that's not your fault. I don't believe it. Are you lying to me? Jiang Mai didn't believe it. Orochimaru curled his lips and said disdainfully, "This person in front of you is the new legend of the ninja world, Konoha's Red Flash, and Red Fangs, Uchiha Kagami, a person who doesn't even pay attention to the shadow. Need to lie to you." "What? You're Uchiha Kagami?" Heavy Hammer suddenly panicked. His eyes were full of fear and uneasiness. To them, they're just ordinary people, and ordinary people respect ninjas very much. But a big shot like Uchiha Kagami, a big shot beyond the shadows, short-circuited his brain. There was fear and uneasiness. They don't know why such a big shot appears here? Uchiha Kagami comforted her gently. "Don't worry about anything. Your clan's physique makes it easy to go berserk, but it's not a big deal. The person next to me is Orochimaru, the #1 scientist in the ninja world, who can help you solve this problem." Orochimaru? Konoha Sanin? Heavy Hammer felt shocked again. But after the shock, he slowly calmed down, and his eyes showed a hint of fear. "In other words, are we going to follow you back to Konoha? Then, will our tribe be considered freaks? Will we be harshly punished? Of course you need to go back, and don't worry about anything. Even if you don't show up in front of me, with my face. No one dares to say anything wrong about you." Orochimaru said hoarsely, "I just need you to cooperate with me in conducting some experiments. Of course, these experiments are all in a safe atmosphere. Even if you don't believe in my character, you should believe in Mirror's character, right?" Heavy Hammer was very uneasy. He was actually very moved. Konoha is the #1 ninja village in the ninja world. They have to stay here every day without food or clothing. From time to time, we have to deal with ethnic groups going berserk. Sometimes when the number of people going berserk is small, they can be stopped with brute force. But once there are more people, as the leader of the clan, he could only watch helplessly as his clan members died at the hands of his own people. However, as the leader of the clan, he needs to discuss it with the clan members. Although their clan is small in number, the migration clan cannot make the decision alone. Then, he started discussing with the tribesmen behind him. After learning the identities of Uchiha Kagami and Orochimaru, these tribesmen have long had enough of this kind of life, and these are the villagers of Konoha. Don't underestimate this seemingly simple identity. The other people in the Shounen village wish they could become Konoha villagers. It's just that people don't like it at all. Then, after deliberation, Heavy Hammer agreed. But now these more than 20 people also need someone to escort them all the way, but it is a bit unnecessary for Orochimaru to do such a small thing. And, you have to prevent them from getting out of control at all times. After thinking about it again, he decided to let Brother Tuzi do this. He used the spiritualization technique to sweep across the entire ninja world with mental waves. No one he knew was spared, and he directly notified Obito through mental transmission. Chapter 105 Indra's Reincarnation, Variables Other Than Fate? Advertisement. A few minutes passed. Tisk, tisk. Space began to distort. Obito appeared in front of the two men wearing a Jonin vest and no mask. "I've met Uncle Mirror, Lord Orochimaru." "Huh? Have you become Jonin? When did it happen?" Uchiha Kagami asked curiously. "Just a few days ago, the teacher not only awarded me the honorary badge of Konoha Hero in the name of Fourth Hokage, but also promoted me to Jonin." Obito showed a proud smile. "Now I am the same as the idiot Kakashi. I am also a Jonin, but I have more badges than him, he." "Not bad." Uchiha Kagami patted his shoulder. "I have a small task for you. Send these people back to Konoha. Just put them into your Kamui space, and then go back to Konoha directly." Obito muttered a few words. "Why do you feel like you were treating me as a delivery person?" Uchiha Kagami said angrily. "What kind of delivery? Give away. These people are all talents in Konoha and will be of great use in the future. The others came too slowly, and your teacher is very busy. I can make you come." "Where's Shisui? Why not let Shisui come? Shisui doesn't know how to fly Thunder God." "Oh fine." Uchiha Kagami warned seriously. "But you have to be careful along the way. The difficulty of this mission is no less than an S-level mission. Your body has just recovered. A Fae has not come back yet, so be careful alone. Uchiha Madara is most likely dead, but he has found your replacement, and he also has good time and space ninjutsu. Be careful on the road, and by the way, if someone loses control, use Sharingan hypnosis on them." "Understood. I promise to complete the task." Obito nodded. His face became serious, and then he put all these people into Kamui's space. Then he activated the time and space ninjutsu and disappeared. Watching Obito leave, Uchiha Kagami thought to himself. "I used the spiritualization technique to notify Obito. But it took Obito a few minutes to come. It seems that Kamui's movement method is not marked like Flying Thunder God. How did it move? Could it be that he is running into Kamui's space? He jumps out when he reaches the position? This is too funny, isn't it? Or, is there another way?" He can't understand, but he didn't think any more and looked at Orochimaru. "Brother, are you interested in learning Ryuchi Cave's senjutsu?" "Me? Can I study?" Orochimaru raised an eyebrow. "Sure." Uchiha Kagami looked determined. Orochimaru has not yet been exposed in human experiments. In fact, because of the deaths of Kato Dan and Nawaki, they understood the fragility of life, so they secretly stole sealing techniques. Learned living corpse reincarnation from inside. Not only did he learn the living corpse reincarnation, but after defecting, he also transformed and strengthened the forbidden technique. Not only can he transfer his spirit or soul to other bodies, but he can also split his own soul by passing a curse seal. Many people didn't understand it at first. Why was Orochimaru able to resurrect after being sealed by Itachi with the Ten-Fist Sword? In fact, every curse mark has his remaining spirit or soul fragments. Advertisement Sasuke released the soul fragments with the evil seal, and Orochimaru was resurrected again. But it was also because he divided his soul. This resulted in a mutilated soul. This was the biggest reason why Orochimaru could not learn Senjutsu. It was not that Orochimaru was not talented enough. Kabuto can transform his body through technology. Thus, he learned the Senjutsu of Ryuchi Cave. Can Orochimaru learn it? But now the plot has changed. Although Orochimaru lamented the fragility of life, he stole the sealed book and did not defect. Therefore, living corpse reincarnation has not learned. His soul is intact, so he can definitely learn magic. As for Wanshi, he did not defect, nor did he have the opportunity to go to Ryuchi Cave to make a contract with 10,000 snakes, so he did not know Ryuchi Cave at all. What? Not interested in Senjutsu? Ryuchi Cave is full of snakes. I think the Senjutsu there should be quite suitable for you. Besides, even if you can't learn Senjutsu, you can still get a summoning beast to play with. Uchiha Kagami said thoughtfully. Your name is Orochimaru, how can a summoning beast be without a snake? Oh, then you can learn some. Orochimaru smiled happily. But the snakes there are more grumpy than the last. It's not that easy to reach the summoning contract. You have to be careful. What are you afraid of? As long as you are here, beat them to death. Yes, let's go. Uchiha Kagami and Orochimaru looked at each other. The two of them smiled tacitly, not worried that these big snakes would not give them face. The two passed the entrance of the temple, passed the 3 major tests of Ryuchi Cave, and met 3 women in fairy clothes. They are Tien Shingenheim, Ichikijimahime and Sungenheim. These 3 people are the 3 great snake elders of Ryuchi Cave. Each of them contains the powerful magic chakra, but looks very sweet and harmless on the outside. White Snake Sage didn't pay much attention to Orochimaru. But the good thing is, Orochimaru felt very uncomfortable, and his eyes were full of fear. White Snake Sage? This guy glanced at me, and gave me the feeling of being seen through. He looked a bit unfathomable. There will be no more people who will influence the structure of the ninja world. Why did you show up? Of course, although the 3 holy places are independent of the world, we know everything about what happened in the ninja world. Tuanjinji showed a treacherous smile. But whether you can learn Sage Mode depends on the fate of the 2 of you. If you can't withstand the erosion of natural energy, if you eventually turn into a snake, you will be eaten. Now stop dawdling and come with us to meet the White Snake Immortal. Then they saw a huge white snake sitting in the coils, with a blood-red bead on its head, and the snake eyes of its eyes were constantly scanning them. Instead, he looked at Uchiha Kagami, his eyes full of curiosity and scrutiny. I'm very curious. How did you get to this point? Logically speaking, the Uchiha family except for the reincarnation of Uchiha Madara and the next generation Indra. The 2 of them traveled unimpeded and reached the depths of Ryuchi Cave. Uchiha Kagami and Orochimaru nodded. Then let's go. No, you are also a new legend in the ninja world, so you still have to be a little polite. After all, haven't you just come out of the Shimobon forest? With the ultimate intention Senjutsu, you are not to be underestimated. Yeah, Tuanjinji said with a smile. You knew we were coming? Orochimaru frowned. A variable other than fate? Orochimaru, Uchiha Kagami, being able to pass the 3 major tests in Ryuchi Cave proves that you are qualified to learn hegemony Senjutsu. Uchiha Kagami smiled and asked, I thought you 3 were going to make things difficult for us for a while. It seems that the 3 of you are not easy to get along with. Is it that simple? Chapter 106 The Real Sage Body. Orochimaru learns domineering Senjutsu. Advertisement. Yeah. Uchiha Kagami raised his eyebrows lightly. I have no intention of changing the structure of the ninja world. I just want peace in the ninja world. But since we are walking on this road, it is absolutely impossible to achieve it without the strength. Are you planning to master the infinite Senjutsu, like Hashirama? That's right. It's very ambitious, but I don't think you can succeed. The White Snake Immortal disagreed. Why do you say that? Jingfeng asked. Katsuyu Sage may have mentioned to you that you only need to solve the sage body to understand the infinite Senjutsu, right? Such a guess is actually reasonable. Even if you solve this problem, it cannot be regarded as the true, infinite Senjutsu, immortal body. White Snake Sage's snake pupils turned, and he spoke hoarsely. From ancient times to the present, there has always been only one person with the true body of an immortal, and that is the Sage of 6 Paths who founded the ninja sect. No one else can be called open black lens bracket sage body close black lens bracket. Oh, Hashirama doesn't count either? It doesn't count. What about Ashura and Indra? Uchiha Kagami squinted his eyes and said, Indra inherited the eyes of Sage of 6 Paths, and Ashura inherited the body of Sage of 6 Paths, so the latter cannot be considered a true sage body. Not really, because no matter how outstanding the parents are, it is impossible for the offspring to inherit all the power of the parents. Ashura is at most a half-immortal body. White Snake Sage shook his head and said, as for Senju Hashirama, as the reincarnation of Ashura's chakra, he has experienced countless rounds of blood dilution, including the Jugo clan that you and Orochimaru took away. At most, it is just a pseudo-sage body. And you still need to be able to control the absorption of natural energy, otherwise it won't even be bullshit. Uchiha Kagami, you have to understand one thing. Sage mode is sage mode, and sage body is sage body. There is an essential difference between the two. Uchiha Kagami understands. In fact, what the White Snake Immortal said is absolutely correct. Many people have a big misunderstanding about sage body. They mistakenly believe that having strong vitality and physical energy is a sage body. Actually completely wrong, including the Uzumaki clan and the Senju clan. Many people mistakenly believe that even these ethnic groups are sage body. But in fact, whether it's Senju Hashirama or Ashura himself, neither of them has the purest immortal body. Senju Hashirama can be said to have returned to his ancestors, while Ashura inherited an incomplete, half-immortal body. A true immortal body not only possesses powerful vitality and physical energy, it also represents Yongdun's ultimate. One of them is definitely Sage of Six Paths Otsutsuki Hagoromo. As an immortal, he is naturally the purest immortal body. Of course, there are 3 other people besides him. 2 of them are Six Paths Madara and Six Paths Obito. And who was temporarily given the power of Yang by Otsutsuki Hagoromo, Six Paths Naruto. If Uchiha Kagami wants to have a real sage body, he can only activate the infinite senjutsu and awaken Rinnegan to become 10 Tails Jinchuriki. Incarnate into 6 paths, that is the true immortal body. But at this stage, it is still early for him to start Rinnegan, and it can even be said that it is far away. Because even after Uchiha Madara transplanted Hashirama cells, he finally awakened the Rinnegan when he felt the crisis of death before his lifespan was about to expire. Advertisement: he wants to awaken the Rinnegan. Either you can only wait slowly, or you can only cheat. At this stage, he can only build a pseudo-sage body first, and then get the infinite immortal technique. Once you have the most perfect sage mode and the eternal Mangekyō Sharingan, your strength will definitely reach a higher level. Even if Uchiha Madara is resurrected, even if he has Rinnegan's blessing, he may not be stronger than himself without magic. Uchiha Kagami raised his head and said in surprise, but I'm very curious, since your 3 holy places have no dispute with the world, White Snake Sage. Why are you telling me this? Katsuyu Sage asked me to be careful around you. It turns out that your attitude towards me seems quite friendly? White Snake Sage shook his head. I can't tell you the real reason, but I can say clearly. You have investment value, just like Senju Hashirama back then. Unfortunately, I have long seen that that kid is a short-lived ghost. But you are different. I think you have a long life. The more you invest, the more you will get back in the future. Anyway, for me, giving you immortal power is as simple as plucking a leg hair for you humans. Why not invest so little? What to do? Good idea. Investment, right? Uchiha Kagami said with a smile. Then since you have invested so much, why not just invest more? I think these 3 female elders are more handsome than the other, and they have quite a lot of immortal power in their bodies. Why don't you come to Konoha with me? I will give them great power and status. White Snake Sage laughed loudly. Ha ha ha, ambitious humans, you have fallen in love with the elders of Ryuchi Cave? You want to take away 3 of them at once? This is not okay. You are not worthy of my investment now. Oh, okay, how about contracting with some Orochi headquarters? Jing asked with a smile. That's okay, huh? White Snake Sage seemed to understand something, and said with a faint smile. You didn't plan to let the 3 elders go to Konoha? The actual target is the big snake that contracted with me, Ryuchi Cave? Cunning human. I can let you take away 2 snake. But whether you can convince them or not depends on your own ability. The White Snake Immortal chuckled. Okay. Orochimaru sat cross-legged on the ground. Is this the magical power of Ryuchi Cave? Hiss, it's really violent? Orochimaru complained in pain. But one bite with such big teeth makes my neck feel like it will break, it's so rough. Orochimaru stopped trembling, his snake eyes became brighter and brighter, and 2 horns grew out of his head. After hard work the day after tomorrow, the amount of chakra has been greatly increased. The body is already filled with Hashirama cells, clear. Stop talking nonsense and quickly integrate the physical, natural and spiritual energy, Jing warned. Moreover, the strength is no longer the same as before. In addition, the Ryuchi Cave celestial technique does not require such a long period of meditation, or it cannot bear the celestial power and is transformed into a snake and eaten as a sacrifice. Uchiha Kagami said with a smile, but before that, give us your immortal power, right? At least learn domineering senjutsu first. After about 10 minutes, can. Orochimaru's original chakra is actually not much, which cannot support him to learn sage mode, but he is the strongest scientist in the ninja world and has carried out in-depth genetic modification on himself. Immediately, his head suddenly fell down, and the huge teeth fell on Orochimaru's neck. His body began to tremble as the immortal power was injected. Or just learn sage mode, which is simple and crude. Begin to merge the distinct energies of these 3. Chapter 107. I have worked hard for Konoha for so many years, can't I enjoy it? Advertisement, I succeeded. Orochimaru stood up, suppressing his excitement. I thought Jiraiya's senjutsu was so weak, so I looked down on him at first. Now it seems that this guy is too weak, and his sage mode skills are half-baked. So, sage mode is so strong. I feel like I'm at least 3 or 4 times stronger. I can beat that idiot Jiraiya casually. Okay, stop yelling, we will become horned brothers soon. Uchiha Kagami glanced above. The white snake immortal nodded, but did not speak. Instead, he exposed his pointed teeth, squeezed out a drop of purple fairy liquid, and penetrated into Jing's skin. This scene, Orochimaru was a little confused. Since this magical liquid can be squeezed out from the teeth, why do you bite it? White snake immortal. Because we are all snakes, of course we have to bite. Orochimaru. Then why only bite me, not the mirror? White snake immortal. Because you are weaker than him and easy to bully. Do you have any objections? Orochimaru. Circle.operator. Oh circle.operator, good guy. You are so candid. Orochimaru felt very unbalanced, but he couldn't say anything. After all, this is someone else's territory, so it's better to keep a low profile. But while Jing was learning Sage Mode, he found his own summoning beast, 10,000 snakes. But this summoning beast, I don't know why, but I have a bad temper. How dare you make a condition that you have to sacrifice 100 sacrifices every time you summon? Although he didn't care about these 100 human sacrifices, Konoha's criminal experimental subjects were in short supply now. How could he give them to Wanshi? One person and one snake started a quarrel on the spot. Orochimaru. No, not a single sacrifice. Wanshi. None of them. I am Wanshi. The strongest snake in Ryuchi Cave is so disrespectful? Orochimaru. No, I won't give it to you anyway. At worst, you can go out to look for food, but just don't eat my Konoha people. Wanshi. Good boy, you are great, then you can find someone else, I won't follow you anymore. Orochimaru. Are you sure? Then I'll call the mirror and tell him that you don't want to follow me. He will beat you up and force you to make a contract. You may not know Uchiha Kagami. Secretly, he likes to drink snake gall soup the most. Wanshi. Well, then I'll go with you. I think you have a kinder personality. Orochimaru. That's for sure. I am Orochimaru. My favorite animal is snakes. From now on, we will be the strongest partners. One person and one snake completed the contract. Write Orochimaru's name on the summoning scroll, and Kagami also completes the training in Sage Mode and acquires the second Senjutsu. But it also grew a pair of horns, and Uchiha Kagami also chose a big snake named Xingya. This guy is also known as the most powerful snake in Ryuchi Cave. He has a bad temper than all the snakes, and he even doesn't give face to the white snake sage. But after being severely beaten, he immediately became obedient. This time, Shin Ya not only saw how powerful he was as a legend in the new ninja world, but also saw that this person really liked to drink snake gall soup and even liked to peel snakeskins raw. You can't afford to offend such a ruthless person. Advertisement. But Uchiha Kagami did not choose the contract, but took away the summoning scroll and Shinya, intending to take them back to Konoha. On their way back, Orochimaru asked with great interest, why don't you make a contract? Although this Ryuchi cave snake likes to brag, it is still somewhat useful. It can also burrow into the ground and shed its skin to protect you, and it is very convenient for traveling. I have the flying thunder god on my way. As for protection, are you sure it protects me, not me protecting it? No matter how strong this guy is, can he be stronger than 9 tails? Uchiha Kagami looked disgusted. I finally understand why there is no summoning beast in Hashirama. This thing is just like a pet. In this case, I will give it to the younger generation of the clan. That child is just right, and he seems to be ready for Jonin school. Who? Uchiha Itachi, son of Fugaku. Why not give it to Shisui? Shisui can use it too, right? That kid Shisui doesn't like summoning mon. Fugaku has worked hard these past few years, so this summoning mon is a thank you, Mirror explained. Orochimaru nodded and agreed deeply. That's true. You're the boss of the Uchiha clan, and Fugaku wakes up early every day and works hard at night. If you weren't strong, he would have ignored you long ago. You, the leader of the clan, are quite leisurely. I no longer want to be the clan leader. I have already considered retiring. Originally, I planned to let Fugaku succeed the clan leader, but my prestige within the clan is too high. The clan members don't agree with it, and it will cause some impact on public opinion. Uchiha Kagami sighed. This is the disadvantage of being too strong, but fortunately Shisui has grown up. Although he is still young now, he can also be regarded as a candidate for the clan leader. When the time comes, I will hand over my roots to him. Huh? Abdicating so soon? Are you not even 40 yet? It's less than a year. Uchiha Kagami said with emotion. Time flies so fast. I have reached this age in the blink of an eye. Suddenly I thought of my second brother. He is still a Hokage in his 60s or 70s. Anyway, I don't have the ability, so I'd better retire as soon as possible. 40 is still young, right? And your appearance has not changed for so many years. I thought you were 20 years old. Orochimaru looked strange. The same goes for you too. Uchiha Kagami asked with a smile. My skin is almost tender enough to hydrate. Besides, the ninja world is at peace. I have worked hard for Konoha for so many years, can't I just enjoy it? What if Uchiha Madara? Orochimaru worried. That's another story. I can take care of Madara's affairs, but don't bother me with other little things. Uchiha Kagami hasn't finished speaking yet, among the grass. Suddenly a wretched girl emerged. He was still holding a bunch of indescribable things in his hands, and shouted in a mean voice. Fresh shit just out of the oven, 2 big shots in Konoha. Are you interested in exploring shit with me? Mystery? FK. Is this shit? Are you sick when you step on a horse? Who are you? Orochimaru saw through his identity and said with a disgusted look on his face. Wait a minute, the only one with this hobby is Faye, we are not interested. Get away from me quickly, it stinks. Are you really going to fish for shit? No, I spend a lot of effort just staring at a person's A** coming out of his A** hole little by little. Ah-Fei held the stool in his hands and was about to step forward. There are no eyes to see the look, but the behavior is full of strong desire and love. Shut up. Before he could finish speaking, Uchiha Kagami stared at him, and his tone gradually became colder. Ah-Fei, can't you tell who is the big and small king? If you dare to take a step closer, then prepare to leave a coffin for yourself. I'm sorry, boss, I was wrong. Ah-Fei gave up decisively. You have something to say. First of all, Uchiha Madara died, just a few days ago. Ah-Fei threw away the shit, touched his chin and reported, Black Zetsu didn't know where he hid Madara's body. I originally wanted to follow him, but the masked man was very hostile to me and wouldn't allow me to get close, so he gave up. In addition, Madara sent someone to kill the third Mizukage before she died. The fourth Mizukage, Yagura, took over and sent a lurking team to Konoha. It looks like he is going to die, but in order to prevent any accidents, I will report to you. Who is the leader of the team, Jonin? Mirror asked. Ah-Fei said. Ching. Chapter 108 Even the shadows have been captured, how can a mere Jonin count? Advertisement, green? Uchiha Kagami was puzzled. Of course he remembered this ninja at the end of the Third Ninja War. When Kirigakure sent out the 7 ninja swordsmen, he thought that Konoha had completely lost its resistance, so he planned to sneak into Konoha. But was directly scared off by Shisui. Qinglian ran away without even having the desire to fight. Shisui didn't let him go on purpose at the time, but because the original Konoha was indeed exhausted at the time, had lost a lot of its top combat power, and had no strength to fight anymore. Even the instant Shisui needs to rush to various battlefields to rescue him. Therefore, scaring off the enemy is naturally the best way, but now the plot has changed, and there will be no losses in the Third Ninja War against Konoha. Konoha Sannin, Hitaki White Fang, and Yellow Flash are all there. Kirigakure has a brain convulsion? Choose to sneak into Konoha and die? Uchiha Kagami was puzzled and suddenly thought of something. By the way, what's the current state of 4th Mizukage Yagura? Is he controlled by that masked man? So he sent ninjas to test us? I don't know, I'm afraid to go into Kirigakure. Ah-Fei said awkwardly. The masked man and Black Zetsu are very wary of me, so I can only get information from the underground route network. Kingming is sent to Konoha by Yagura, but it is not necessarily controlled by the masked man behind the scenes. What about your analysis? Which one is more likely? Uchiha Kagami asked. Let me analyze it. Ah-Fei was stunned and said, No, Master Jing, I am just an ordinary poop lover. You want me to analyze intelligence? It's okay if you ask me to analyze shit, but I can't analyze intelligence. Uchiha Kagami was speechless, but I am too lazy to argue with this guy. Instead, he discussed it privately with Orochimaru, and the two started a discussion. Uchiha Kagami asked, Orochimaru, which one do you think is more likely? Is it the masked man behind the scenes? Or is Yagura having a brain convulsion? I think it may be the former, because if Yagura was not controlled by the masked man, then as the 4th Mizukage, why would he do such an act of committing suicide? Orochimaru analyzed it very seriously. The war is obviously over. Even though Kirigakure did not surrender on the surface, the internal high-level officials have already acquiesced to this. There is no reason for Yagura to still do this. Then it is most likely that he was controlled by the masked man to conduct some kind of test on us, but the specific purpose is not clear. Yeah, it's not clear. Uchiha Kagami touched his chin and said, What does the other party want to test through Qinglai? The reality of Konoha? It's not like they don't know. Konoha's upper-level combat power has almost no loss, and Jonin is more than 10 times more than them. Send Qing here. What can I do? I don't know, but I think we have to do something, Orochimaru suggested. Well, just send Shisui there. Send Shisui to scare them off. No, just capture him alive, Uchiha Kagami said calmly. Since their purpose is not clear, let's just capture them all. Anyway, Konoha is not afraid of war at all. Apart from the shadows, the most powerful ninjas in Kirigakure are the 7 ninja swordsmen. Is it so simple and crude? Orochimaru looked stunned. That's not it. What if we capture Kirigakure's people and other ninja villages think that we are going to start another war in Konoha? Orochimaru asked. Just think it's a big deal. Advertisement Uchiha Kagami Haki said. We have even captured the shadows, just Jonin. It's nothing at all. I already bypassed the 5 shadows last time. If Onoki and the others dare to ignore good and evil again, then don't blame me for being ruthless. The two returned to Konoha village. Orochimaru naturally continued to go back to the laboratory to conduct experiments. And Uchiha Kagami returned to the Uchiha tribe and came to his home. I saw Shisui and the young Itachi sparring, but they stopped immediately when they saw the person coming, with expressions of respect on their faces. Uchiha Itachi bent down and bowed. I've met Uncle Mirror. Shisui smiled. Grandpa, are you back? Well, how about you two competing? How about the outcome? Shisui said modestly. There is no victory or defeat, just practice casually, the war is over. We have nothing to do. Uchiha Itachi said honestly. Of course Shisui is great. He has been teaching me how to fight. I definitely can't win. Shisui touched his head and comforted him gently. You are still young, it's normal. When you go to ninja school, you may be able to surpass me soon after graduation. Your talent is very strong. Really, brother Shisui? Itachi asked innocently. Of course, if you don't believe me, ask your grandfather. Uncle Jing, is what Shisui said true? More or less, you two are both geniuses of our clan, but each has his own strengths, but since you are going to Jonin school soon, I will give this to you as a gift for going to school. Uchiha Kagami took out the contract scroll from his arms. It was Shin Ya's contract scroll, and it could be summoned by just asking Itachi to smear his blood and sign his name. Certainly, it's definitely not possible with his current amount of chakra. Uchiha Itachi showed joy and said, "Thank you, Uncle Mirror. What kind of tooth is this?" "The little toy snake from Ryuchi Cave can be summoned in the future when the chakra is enough." Mirror blinked. "Yes, Grandpa." Uchiha Kagami said seriously. "Kirigakure has sent a team, which is about to arrive in the Land of Fire. The leader Jonin is an old Jonin named Shing. Go and capture them alive and bring them back. I want to interrogate them." He nodded, put on the Jonin vest and went. "Oh, Grandpa, I'm almost 15 years old." Shisui blushed and crossed his fingers. "It's still Jonin. If my teammates in the team find out, they will laugh at me. Or go straight through Tien country." Shisui didn't ask any more questions. And since Kirigakure is an island country and is the farthest away from Konoha, they have to sneak into the Land of Fire. There are generally only 2 routes. Uchiha Itachi jumped away. Looking at Itachi's cheerful back, Jing looked at Shisui and couldn't help but sigh. It was better to be a child. Now that you have grown up, you won't let your grandfather hold you. It's really sad. But this is the border with the most Konoha outposts, and Kirigakure would not choose this. Okay, just kidding. Starting from the sea, we detoured to the Bear Country and sneaked in from the southeastern border of the Fire Country. Uchiha Itachi showed a happy smile. It's already very late today, so I'll go back first. Otherwise my dad will have to worry. Go back, be careful on the road, Jing said. Yeah, goodbye uncle. Thank you, Uncle Jing. I like it very much. There's only one way left, the seaway. Chapter 109 The Conspiracy of the Masked Man, The Confident Uchiha Shisui. Advertisement Fire Nation, Southeastern Border. At this moment, in the woods, Shing was wearing an eye patch, followed by 4 chunin. The 5 people were running at full speed, but soon the 2 ninjas behind them fell to the ground, mumbling nonsense. Ah, it's so scary, so scary. Bewitched by an illusion? When? Shing looked wary. He immediately concentrated the chakra, and his white eyes, which were wearing blindfolds, had veins popping out, and he saw several Shisui standing on the tree not far away. And under the perspective of Byakugan, Shisui has amazing chakra all over her body, and the color of Sharingan is green. Shisui. Shing suddenly felt as if he was facing a formidable enemy and broke into a cold sweat. Retreat, retreat immediately. The team member said suspiciously, but our infiltration mission has not been completed yet. Is it too hasty to retreat like this? Ao said in a low voice. The mission is no longer important, that is Konoha's instant body Shisui. We are no match for him, retreat quickly. Yes, Captain. The other team members were also very scared. Shisui's name has been famous for several years. For these ninjas, it was absolutely thunderous. They were completely unable to raise the desire to resist and had to retreat. However, not evacuated yet. A large swath of kunai came flying behind him. Clang. Dang. 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 Ao raised his hand and knocked the kunai away. But his eyes became increasingly difficult to look at. I saw several more Shisui blocking the way. Shisui said calmly. As ordered by my grandfather, I will take you back to Konoha. Please do not resist, otherwise, I cannot guarantee your safety. We haven't caused any damage to Konoha, let's withdraw, Shing said in a negotiating tone. It does not matter. Shisui shook his head. Shing also understood that this battle was inevitable. The remaining 3 people were about to take action immediately, but Shisui's eyes turned to Sharingan. Just looking at each other, the remaining 2 missed shinobi chunin immediately fell to the ground and fell into a state of hypnosis. This scene, Shing's face suddenly became embarrassed. The white eye of the right eye opened again, and his hands quickly formed seals. Water-style water wave, fire-style great fireball technique. Shisui looked calm, opened the small mouth at a faster speed. A large flame erupted to evaporate the water, and a thick mist spread and enveloped the surrounding area. Ching Gang wants to form seals again. The next second, there was a swish sound. Shisui appeared behind him at some point, with the kunai in his hand across his neck. When? Ching was shocked. Just now, you were too slow, Shisui said. As expected of Shisui, you are worthy of being the descendant of the legend of the ninja world. Your speed is probably no less than that of the flying thunder god. Ao couldn't help but praise. No, don't talk nonsense. No matter how fast my teleportation is, it can't compare to the flying thunder god technique. Please don't flatter me. Thank you. Okay, Shisui frowned and said, put down your hand and don't make any seals, or my kunai will cut your throat. Okay, I surrender. Ching lowered his hands. He had no choice but to surrender. There is no way, I will lose in one face-to-face. Advertisement. Although he is also an experienced ninja and has a Byakugan, his strength is far behind. Shisui, on the other hand, didn't waste much effort, capturing Ao and the other 4 missed shinobi chunin alive, and drove them all the way back to Konoha. Several people walking on the road. The other Chunin were bewitched by illusions and therefore posed no threat. You only need to use illusions to fool them into thinking they're your companions, and there is no need to restrain them. I learned this kind of cool thing from my grandfather. Shisui asked casually. What is your purpose of sneaking into Konoha? Don't you know that the war is over? Or, because Master Fourth Hokage killed the 7 ninja swordsmen and broke the pot? No, I'm sorry, I can't tell the truth. Ching raised his head and wanted to say something several times. But he lowered his head and said nothing, but his eyes were full of helplessness. But the keen Shisui noticed something unusual, and he said patiently and gently, you can say whatever you want, are you forced to sneak in? We are forced to do it, we can't help but do it. Ao prayed in a low voice. I suspect there is something wrong with our 4th Mizukage, maybe it is being manipulated. I hope Konoha can help us. Oh, Shisui raised his eyebrows slightly. The fact that 4th Mizukage was manipulated has been confirmed by my grandfather and senior officials, but there is a lack of evidence. Unexpectedly, Ching not only realized the truth, still want to ask Konoha for help? But he had no answer for this. After all, this involves the shadow of the whole village, and it must be left to the grandfather to make the decision. It's just that the person behind the scenes made Ching aware of the abnormality so easily? There seems to be something wrong. Shisui thought to himself. Could it be that the masked man did it on purpose? But what's the use of releasing these baits? As long as grandfather is here, they won't dare to do anything. So their target is only going to be someone else, so who is that someone going to be? Etc. He keenly sensed something was wrong, suddenly. Changes occurred suddenly, and the space became distorted. A man wearing a whirlpool mask appeared from behind him and touched Shisui's body with his palms. Sure enough, the target is me? Shisui's eyes dropped. Immediately, he formed a seal with one hand, and the technique disappeared from the spot. The next second, appearing on the tree trunk, his eyes were full of vigilance and solemnity. The masked man appears, and the bait this guy sent Kirigakure was certainly not for his grandfather. Instead, he chose himself as the next best thing. As Uchiha Kagami's most doted grandson, as long as he was captured alive, his grandfather would be able to kill him. Fortunately, he just thought of this, so be vigilant, otherwise with the speed of the opponent's time and space ninjutsu, you might have been caught just now. But he is smart and cautious after all, and after all these years, I have been taught by my grandfather. He is no longer the young man who believed in others casually. The current him is not the Shisui who was tricked by Danzo in the original work, but the eldest grandson of Legend of the New Ninja World, 2 heroes of Konoha, Red Fang, and Red Flash, Uchiha Shisui. The difference between the two is quite big, thinking of this. Not only did Shisui not panic, but his eyes were full of confidence and he said, treat me as a soft persimmon? Masked man. You don't dare to face my grandfather, so you think I am easy to bully, right? I will let you understand. It's not that easy to win against me, arrogant boy. The masked man's eyes turned into Sharingan, and he made a cold hoarse voice. That guy Nagato has my Rinnegan, and he was almost defeated by me. You don't even have hair, how can you be my opponent, Uchiha Madara? As long as I capture you alive, I can even make him Uchiha Kagami commit suicide on the spot. Today I will capture you alive first, so that Uchiha Kagami can feel the feeling of losing a loved one, ha ha ha. Note. The old book is finished. The Arrancar book has 1.346 million words. If new readers find it unsatisfying, they can read the old book. The masked man is not Danzo. Danzo is not worthy. Chapter 110 Phantom Body Flicker Technique. Let me give you a taste of defeat today. Advertisement, haha. Then try it, Phantom Body Flicker Technique. Shisui didn't bother to talk nonsense with him. His eyes decisively turned into 3 Tomo Sharingan, and at the same time, he formed a double image with one hand. Fang Fang. Fang Fang. His teleportation technique is not only fast. Moreover, each phantom is an entity and can cross-attack. This is developed by combining Shadow Clone and Flicker Technique, Phantom Body Flicker Technique. However, the masked man remained motionless. Let these phantom shadow clones get close to you. The moment the phantom shadow clone touched his body, the space immediately became distorted, and the phantom shadow clone turned into smoke and dissipated. Shunsui Shisui, you are very fast, but what's the use of being faster? You can't touch me at all in front of my time and space ninjutsu. The masked man had his hands behind his back. You don't even need to move, giving you a feeling of calmness and ease. Shisui also discovered this, but this guy's time and space ninjutsu is not without its weaknesses, that is, the range of space he can distort is very small. It's not enough to cover the whole body, so, just need a covering attack. Phantom Body Flicker Technique is Satis Claw Red. Shisui shouted lowly. All the phantom shadow clone took out their kunai. And he opened his mouth and spit out a large piece of flame, covering all the kunai, and rushed straight towards the opponent in a dense manner. However, the masked man took his time and quickly formed seals with his hands. Water-style Water Dragon Bomb Technique, in an instant. A large amount of water suddenly appeared on the dry ground. The water continued to condense and turned into a water dragon, which collided with the kunai covered in flames and knocked down all the kunai. The masked man didn't panic at all, and said with a contemptuous look, so what if you guys know the weakness? Do you really think that except for the time and space ninjutsu, I can't even do anything? Such an attack is too weak. You have no chance of hurting me. You don't even have Mangekyō Sharingan. Shisui, give up. How about you go back with me and become the grandson of my Uchiha Madara? Are you insulting me? Shisui was furious. The other party's words were no less than a personal insult. But although he was angry on the surface, he remained calm on the inside. He noticed that the masked man in front of him was in a wrong mood, and seemed to be quite hostile to his grandfather. We can even say, in order to deal with his grandfather, he has resorted to any means. Such a person also has Sharingan, and he is still Mangekyō Sharingan, but he has no impression of it in terms of voice or body. Could it be that, are they the exiled Uchiha people? The masked man smiled coldly and said, I'm not insulting you. What's wrong with being a descendant of my Uchiha Madara? He, Uchiha Kagami, is the clan leader. He is so powerful now, but he doesn't support his clan members to rise to power. Third Hokage and Fourth Hokage are all outsiders. Even the clan members who act as roots do some unworthy things. How can someone like Uchiha Kagami be the clan leader? Shisui stared at him with a low expression. What do you know? Grandfather has his own considerations, and he is already helping to start the 5th Hokage. This person is the returning young hero of Konoha, Uchiha Obito. And who exactly are you? Although I am young, I have seen everyone in the clan since I can remember. I can distinguish them all just by listening to their voices, but you are not in my memory at all. Are you an illegitimate child of the Uchiha clan? Obito. That waste. It's just a chess piece I abandoned. What qualifications does he have to become the 5th Hokage? As for who I am, stop thinking about it, and don't try to delay time. You can't beat me. The masked man smiled disdainfully. As soon as he stepped on the sole of his foot, his figure was ejected. Call out. Very fast. Advertisement and the phantom shadow clone keeps blocking. Everything was twisted casually and turned into smoke and dissipated. Vulnerable. Shisui, you are mine, the masked man laughed ferociously. The moment you get close to Shisui's body, raise your hand to touch the other person. However, suddenly, Shisui's 3 Magatama suddenly spun. It transformed into the shape of a 4-cornered windmill, and chakra surged from its body. Boom. Green bones condense. Half-body Susanoo appeared and stabbed hard with the spiral sword in her right hand. What? Mangekyō Sharingan? You actually have Mangekyō Sharingan too. Ha ha ha. I'm pretending. The masked man's expression completely changed. The whole person seemed to be panicked, but the next second, the masked man laughed ferociously. Chakra gathers throughout the body. The pale white half of Susanoo condensed out, and the chakra scimitar in his hand collided with it. Bang! The 2 Susanoos collided hard. The powerful attack caused the ground to shatter, and a large number of trees were blown away by the airwaves. The scene was very spectacular. Susanoo? Shisui's eyes narrowed slightly. This guy not only has Mangekyō Sharingan, but he also seems to have both eyes. This guy. No matter who he is, I will keep him today. Not bad, Shisui. The masked man praised. Your talent is stronger than your grandfather's. Your grandfather was over 25 years old when he awakened Mangekyō, and you were only 15 years old when you were able to cast Susanoo, but you are still no match for me. Really? I don't believe it. Susanoo 99. Shisui doesn't believe in evil. Half-body Susanoo opens her hands. A large number of chakra arrows were shot out at very fast speed. But the masked man smiled contemptuously, raised his hand and threw out 2 rounds of chakra Magatama, which were filled with the power of space distortion. Tisk. But, not far away, there was a low shout. The Magatama was completely wiped out, and the space powers of both sides collided. It actually caused the space to fall into a state of calm, and Obito walked out of the twisted space with a flame fan on his back and looked up and down at the masked man in front of him. Suddenly, he doesn't have much chakra left, Kamui. It actually attacked Shisui's Susanoo very quickly. Coupled with the fact that Mangekyō had just awakened not long ago, Susanoo in this second form was already at his limit and could only watch the Magatama attack. The moment the two come into contact, in an instant, Shisui's pupils tightened, and she was shocked inside. You clown, you rat who dare not show your true colors, I will let you taste defeat today. The space quickly distorted. He tried to use more chakra to condense a stronger form of Susanoo. This guy actually integrated the power of space distortion into Magatama. He is stronger than the intelligence. You're the one who said I'm not worthy of being the 5th Hokage? The arrows were completely wiped out, but the Magatama's remaining power remained unabated.